Houston, our instruments are showing that we have a incoming message from deep space. Houston, we have an incoming message from deep space. Houston, our instruments are showing that we have a incoming message from deep space.
All right. I'm going to skip the intro because it's delayed and laggy, but welcome, Darin. It's very nice to have you on.
Thank you.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing all right. And you?
I'm doing good. Okay, guys. So Darin was supposed to come on last night, but we had to reschedule for tonight. Very appreciative for him to come on. He is willing to answer any and all questions as long as you keep it respectful. Please, just be on your best behavior, mods. Keep an eye out. I collected and compiled all of your guys' questions from the community post from a few days ago. And so I figured we'll just kind of go through questionnaire format. I ask the question, you answer the question. If you don't know the question or the answer, then you don't know it. But we're going to accept the answers at face value, and we're not going to just be an asshole and not accept it and just constantly give pushback. So is there anything that you want to say before we begin?
No, you pretty much nailed it. The only thing that I was going to say is, I have not seen Brent face to face in 7 years. That's because he moved across the state. I live in Illinois. He moved to Washington. But before he moved to Washington, he lived with me. But just because I haven't seen him face to face does not mean that we're not best friends. I get mad when I hear people say, like, his alleged best friend. I did talk to him damn near every single day, whether it was through a text message or a phone call. And I'm going to answer any and all questions to the best of my ability. Some of them I may have to take an educated guess on. Some of them I may not know at all. The only thing that I will not put up with is being called a liar. If you don't believe me, that's on you. I'm not here to prove shit. If you don't believe me, that I can't fix you. So I'm just here to answer questions and to hang out with Melissa because I appreciate the support. And so yeah, I'm just here to hang out, have some fun, whatever. Hopefully I will I don't know, put some of your rumors and bullshit to rest. Hopefully I can help out with that.
Right. And just to give you guys the heads up, I'm not going to be highlighting any comments at the end. I'll acknowledge anybody, but I just want to keep it on topic and our focus to get through the questions. And if you don't know, so basically, Darin is Brent's best friend. And there is a huge conspiracy going around surrounding Brent Kopacka, basically because Brian Koberger, at the time that he was pulled over, him and his dad mentioned an alert that had gone off on his phone, and it was regarding the situation with Brent. And ever since then, people have been going wild with speculations, even as going as far as straight up blaming Brent for being responsible for the Idaho 4 murders. And I've even seen people drag your name, Darin, through the dirt in regards to that. And it's just been difficult. And I watched Darin's podcast recently, and to see the impact that this has had on you. And you said something very moving that stuck with me. And you said that Brent signed up to fight for all of us to have our freedom and have just our rights. And now you have to fight to stick up for his name and to clear his name. And it's just not right.
Yeah, that's a really good way to think about it. Yeah, I have said that in the past where he fought for us and now I got to fight for him. And I never thought that the roles would be reversed like that.
Right. You also said the other night, and I have it in big bold letters because I loved it. You said there are absolutely no connections. There are only assumptions.
Right.
And that's pretty much everything I've gathered from every video that I have watched as far as a Brent Kopacka connection. It has only just been wild theories. That's it. There hasn't been anything substantial. And I think that in the true crime community, we need to do better. we need to hold ourselves more accountable, because these are real people. And I think it's really easy to sit there and make an entire video which really picks apart every aspect of even your life, Darin, like all of your personal information out there, and people jumping to really wild things. Like, I know that they even said you didn't deserve to have your kids, right?
Yeah, that pissed me off.
As it should. And based off of what, based off of nothing. And so that's what tonight is really in hopes to do, is to stop that misinformation, to realize that we need to hold ourselves accountable. Speculation and theorizing is okay, but to a degree. When you're taking innocent people and literally holding them accountable for a quadruple homicide, there's something seriously wrong.
Yeah, what's funny about the videos about me and the information, if that's what you want to call it, that people have put out there about me, none of it's embarrassing, none of it's crazy. It's all shit that I put on the internet. Like, they're taking stuff from my Facebook, and it's like, if I was hiding these things or if I was ashamed of these things, I wouldn't have posted it on the internet for everybody to see. Like, that's what social media is for, is, hey, look at me, look what I did today, or look what I ate for dinner, or look what I just bought, or look where I'm going on vacation. That's what it's all about. So for someone to take shit that I posted that I already wanted to show the world, and then to be like, look what he did, it's just crazy.
Well, and it works.
Doesn't make any
It
sense.
works. People manage, like, the things that I've seen, which it's very debunkable things too, like Buddy the Caller, story. Well, we'll get into that. But
Yeah.
if they even took a moment to do the research, they would know it's so easily debunked. But people just so desperately rather believe a conspiracy. And something else you said earlier is, yeah, I may not have seen Brent in 7 years face to face, but he was still my best friend. Let's be real. I have friends who live 10 minutes from me, and I haven't actually seen them face to face in a long time, because it's the age of social media too, right? You have FaceTime, you have all of these abilities where not everybody even does that anymore, but I still call them my close friends.
Oh, 100%. Like, Audie, he's my best friend, and he lives in Missouri. It's like, and the fact that I haven't seen Brent face to face in 7 years wasn't our fault. It's not like we didn't like to hang out with each other. He lived in Washington State, and I lived in Illinois. Like, but before he moved to Washington State, guess where he lived? With me at my house. So, just for people to say that we weren't best friends, like, why would I lie about this shit? Like, I don't want the 15 minutes of fame or whatever. It's not like in a cool way. Like, if that makes any sense, I'm trying to find a way to explain it. Like, I don't want to talk about this shit and go live all the time and get hounded by fucking Facebook people that I have no clue who they are. Like, I'm not lying about being his friend. So when people say his alleged best friend, that shit really pisses me off.
Yeah. Well, and before I even ask the questions, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for what you have been through. And if you could pick a few words to describe Brent, how would you describe him?
That dude was like, he was so generous, man. He really was. He'd give you his last cigarette or his last beer or whatever. Like, he was just really, really cool. He was really funny. Me and him laughed a ton. Like, I know it's so stupid when you see an obituary. They love to laugh. It's like everybody loves to laugh, but he was just a super duper funny dude, and we had the same kind of sense of humor. He probably loved my kids more than he loved me. He was constantly calling and texting about them, and he was constantly sending them packages in the mail of cool stuff. He was just a really generous dude, and he was super loving. Like, if he loved you, man, he loved you. And another thing too that might be surprising to people is, like, he was really religious. He loved Jesus. Like, he believed that Jesus really was the Son of God and that he died for our sins. Like, he was really into that thing. That kind of stuff. Not in like a weird, freaky, culty way. He was really spiritual. And I guess if I was driving a Humvee in the war and everybody died except me, I would probably get pretty religious too.
Well,
I would think.
I'd love to ask, can you explain a little bit of Brent's situation and what had happened?
The most I know exactly is that he was driving in a Humvee, and there was 4 of the people in the Humvee, and they hit an IED, and everybody died except him.
So Brent was the sole survivor, and
of that vehicle. Yeah, I'm sure there was other vehicles in a line, because I do know he did tell me a story about one of the guys that, like, hopped onto a flipped over Humvee and was shooting people, and he got like this crazy, like, award for it. Like, he was a badass. Brent told me about that dude. But yeah, like I've seen him take off his shirt, man, and he had scars from like the door that blew up, like the metal burning through his uniform and onto his back and shit. Like he got hurt. He had a brain injury, and he's had I think more than one. I know for a fact one, but I think he had more than one surgery on his spine because of that accident. That's how he got his Purple Heart. I've heard people say that he got a Purple Heart because he was the sole survivor of the Humvee. That's not why they give Purple Hearts. They give Purple Hearts if you're hurt in action, and that's what happened to him. He got hurt.
Right. And so that's kind of the other perspective of what I want this live to be about is Brent's story was tragic in its own, completely not associated with Brian Koberger or the Idaho murders. And if it should be in the spotlight, it should be that our veterans need better care, better service. Anybody struggling with PTSD, because really they put their lives on the line. They come back and they're left to fend for themselves. And I think that that's on us, and that should be more of the spotlight, is that our veterans need help.
Yeah, 100%. And the VA isn't really there so much for the support. I think us as citizens should try to support them. I'm not saying bring them into your home and let them live with you rent free, but I'm just saying whatever you can do to help.
Right.
For example, like me and my wife, our pipe dream is to like open a drive-through movie theater. And we were like, we would hire like ex-veterans as like our security and shit. Like we would try to keep our staff to like high school kids in the summer so they can have
Right.
money and like ex-veterans. I think schools should do it too. I
Yeah.
know it's a whole different subject, but I would love it if like a school would hire an ex-army dude or ex-marine to patrol the hallways and keep the kids safe from the fucking crazy people that come in with guns and shit.
Right.
I'd
A
feel
lot
way
of our
better.
veterans are on the street. You know, they're on the street, they're homeless, they cannot get medical care. And it's like, this is what we
Yeah.
owe back to the people who gave their lives for us.
Right.
It's a shame. All right. So I compiled these questions. Again, these are not my questions.
Yeah, that's
put
cool.
out a post. These are the questions people had. I went over and I looked at videos that were accusatory of Brent or implied Brent had a connection. And we tried to pick up any consistencies just so we could clear it up. If you don't know the answer, awesome. If you think you know the answer, awesome. If you know the answer, great. Either way, we're going to just ask it, answer it, and move on. So we have, was Brent Kopacka part of the 325 Airborne Infantry Regiment from 2005 to 2006, based in Vicenza, Italy, prior to his service with the 2508 4th VCT, 82nd Airborne, as shown in the obituary picture? Sorry, that was a lot. All at once.
None of that sounds familiar to me at all, except for 82nd Airborne. I'm like 99% sure he's never been to Italy. I'm pretty sure he's never been to Italy. That's weird. I've never heard any of those, anything that you said. Like, but
3/325 Airborne.
Yeah, no, he was in he was 100% 82nd Airborne. That's 100% true. He did his basic training in Georgia. He was in Fort Bragg. Those are the two like bases that I know of that he was on, but he's never been. The only time he ever went overseas was to go to Afghanistan.
Okay.
I don't know what the hell all that other shit was.
It was a long comment, and I probably should have worded it better, but yeah, it was a bit confusing.
No, it's cool. And I'm not 100% like I'm not up to date on like military terms and shit. So like if any of that stuff made sense to something else and like I'm just unaware of, like maybe.
Right.
But I know he's never been to Italy. And to me, I also don't know exactly what year he signed up. I don't know what year. So like if someone's like from 2000 this to I don't know the years, man.
Yeah. Fair enough. Thank you. The next question is, did you live near Brian around 2022? And again, I know that you may have answered it, but let's
Me or Brent? Because I've never lived anywhere but the state of Illinois in my whole life.
Okay.
I've heard people say that Brent lived in Pennsylvania, and I'm like 99% sure that's not true either. I know he lived in the Fort Bragg area, Myrtle Beach area, like North Carolina. That's the only place I'm ever aware of him ever being on the East Coast. I don't think he's ever lived in Pennsylvania. And I've seen like on a background check, somebody was saying that he lived there, but like there was no proof of that. He didn't show the background check that showed that shit. He just said, I did a background check. he lived here, and he showed like a $350,000,
Yes, he did.
$100,000 house, and it's like there's no fucking way Brent lived there. Like maybe the only thing I think of is maybe his parents did or something, but I really have never heard Brent ever even talk about the state of Pennsylvania, man. I only know about North Carolina.
And
That's
that was
it.
one of the questions. Have you
And
known Brent to live in Pennsylvania?
no, never. Another thing too with like the way background checks are, they're not 100% accurate. I don't give a fuck if you paid for it or not. And like LinkedIn, like people were talking about me being on LinkedIn and saying that I had a job somewhere. I've never even made a goddamn LinkedIn account. So I don't know where any of that shit came from either. And I've heard from other people, like buddies of mine, say, yeah, I never made one either. Or they'll tell me that they did have a LinkedIn. It's like, yeah, they said that I fucking worked at Chuck E. Cheese or whatever. I've never worked there. You're like, so none of the shit's accurate, you know?
Right. And the house that was shown was huge. It was gorgeous. And they implied maybe Brian Koberger was one of his roommates, you know?
Yeah, I saw
And
that shit.
when you try to say, like, prove it, they'll say, well, you prove he didn't. And then you get stuck in this
I
endless
fucking
loop.
hate people like that. It's like
Yep.
saying it's like the God thing, like prove God doesn't exist, prove he does exist. Like you're both just acting like children right now in an argument. You know,
I thought it was because because I went to confirm the information myself, and no background report pulled up any information regarding Pennsylvania, but people did, because he ended up showing the report that he did, but a bunch of people came out and basically debunked it because that was a very unreliable source. Even if you use the paid edition, there's other people's information sometimes mixes in a background check. So you can get half of your information, half of somebody else's information.
right?
So you have to have something else to really back it up.
And I don't know how this shit works. Like, I doubt he used a social security number for a background check, but he's probably not the only Brent Kopaka in America either. So they probably get cross connected at some point. I don't know. I'm not for sure. I did see someone in the comment asked if he ever lived in Nashville. Not to my knowledge. I don't ever remember him living in Nashville either. So just to answer that person's question.
Thank you. Okay. So the next question is, did you stay in close communication with Brent during that time, like his close social group?
Me and him.
When they say at that time, I'm assuming at the time of his death.
Yeah, I talked to him almost every single day. As far as social group goes, I was his social group. Like he didn't have very many friends. I know he had like some buddies that he was in the military with that he served with. I'm sure that he still stayed in contact with. But like I didn't even know his damn roommates' names because I don't think he was very close to them. He didn't have like a ton of friends and shit. So like I was pretty much his only social group. Me, my wife, and kids, you know. But yeah, I talked to him almost every single day, at least, if not a phone call, at least text messages and shit. I say almost every single day, you know. I'm sure there was days where we didn't text each other or didn't call each other, but for the most part, we were in contact just about every damn day.
Awesome. Okay. And again, you know, I apologize for anything that's sensitive, but do you know if Brent has ever threatened any of his friends or roommates prior to the incident?
No, and as a matter of fact, Brent was not a tough guy. He was not a meathead. Like some people are like, oh, he was in the military. He had to be a tough guy. Like, but as far as like fist fighting goes and being violent, like the dude did not like confrontation. Most of the time, I fought his battles for him. Like I've actually gotten into fist fights because people fucking with Brent and Brent being like, this dude won't fucking leave me alone. He wasn't like that. He was not a meathead. He wasn't a badass. He hated that shit. He wouldn't even like argue with people. He wasn't fucking like that, man. And yeah, I've gotten a few fist fights in school, even as an adult, because of people fucking with him at a bar or whatever. So he definitely, and like if he did threaten to kill his roommates that night, I don't think it was like a serious thing. It was probably like a get out of my room or I'll fucking kill you. It was probably some stupid shit like that. And then I don't know if they just didn't like him and they're like, we got to get this fucking guy out of here. And this is a good way to fucking get him evicted or whatever, call the cops. And I'm sure he did have a gun. He's a veteran. This is America. We all have fucking guns. And it's for protection or hunting. You know, if he had a gun, I assume it would be for protection. But I doubt that he like waved a gun around at his roommates and was like, I'm going to fucking kill all of you. Because why wouldn't he have just done it?
Right.
And I think it was a stupid argument that happened that night, and he was probably like, "Get out of my room, or I'll fucking kill you," or something stupid. I see a question here. Darin, was the weekend of these crimes Veterans Day weekend wouldn't Brett be with family? Not necessarily. He didn't really hang out with his family a whole ton. He was a kind of a loner, man. It's Veterans Day, I would always like text him and I'd be like, "Happy Veterans Day, dude. What do you?" And a lot of times he didn't like celebrate that shit, or Memorial Day. He's for the most part pretty bummed out around those kind of holidays. And he just, yeah, man, I'm just gonna sit at home and watch some TV. Like he was always kind of bummed out around those days. So no, it wasn't like we're gonna have a big cookout and celebrate. It really wasn't like that. And he didn't see his family a ton. I know we talked to his mom a lot on the phone and shit, but he didn't like I don't know, he just didn't see them a lot and hang out with them and go visit and all that shit. So no. And I didn't even know that was on the Veterans Day weekend. I didn't even know that. I didn't even put that together. So that's my first time I've ever been asked that question.
Awesome. And what age did you become friends with Brent?
We were like 14, 13 or 14. I don't know exactly, but I know we were in 7th grade. So whatever age you are in 7th grade, like 13, 14. Yeah, like 22 years or so. I've known him longer than I didn't, if that makes sense. Like I've known her. Yeah, I've known him longer than I've been alive than I didn't. So
you guys grew up together.
Yeah, 100%. We totally did. And he was always my family, like from the beginning. Like he would call my dad and my mom, and my nieces and nephews would call him Uncle Brent, and my dad would call him son. They were like just really really close. When he would come home from the army and like to visit and shit, like yeah, he'd see his family on Christmas and Thanksgiving and shit, but he would always, like, if he was home for a week or two or whatever, he would always make sure he came and stayed with me too, at least for a couple of days. Like every chance he got, he would come and spend his holidays or his free time or whatever with us, because he was our family.
And you mentioned that that's one of the reasons you actually suggested he create a Facebook, right? So you could
keep in
touch and see the photos and stuff that you post.
Yeah, I've been telling him for a long time, like, get a Facebook, dude. But he was super private, and he was kind of paranoid about his privacy. He didn't like that shit, and he has made a couple of Facebooks throughout the years, and like a lot of times it would be to like get a hold of his ex-girlfriend or something because he didn't have her phone number anymore. So he'd make a Facebook and be like, hey, whatever, I know that a couple of times, but he'd like delete them right away. Or if he would like try to get in touch with somebody, he didn't have their phone number, he would like make a Facebook account, like search their name, message them, be like, hey, here's my number, dude. And then he would delete the Facebook. But like a couple, I don't know exactly how long it was, but like the last one that he made before he died, I would tell him, like, make a Facebook page and just add me. You don't have to add anybody. You don't got to put up a bio or nothing.
Right.
It's just that, like, I'm a Facebook whore, man. I'm always posting on there like every day.
You have a lot of posts.
Yeah, like I sometimes I'll post like multiple times a day, and I get made fun of quite a bit for it. But so I was like, if you make a Facebook, you can see like all the shit that I post about with my kids and like the music videos that I make or links to my bands and all that shit. And he's like, all right, fuck it, I'll make one. And he made one. And then he ended up dying like shortly after that. And I feel kind of responsible for all the bullshit because my dumbass would tag him and shit after he died. And I'd be like, miss you, dude. And I'd post like a fucking Marilyn Manson music video or some shit, because me and him used to jam the shit out of that when we were young. And I think that brought the shit like to attention, or even like linked me in somehow, because then they're like, oh, who's this fucking guy? And then they're like, oh, he's obsessed with horror movies, I bet. And then like the stupid fucking Machete post, man, in hindsight, I realized how dumb that was. And we can get into that whenever the question comes up or whatever. But yeah, it's like I kind of feel like I caused some of this shit.
You didn't. It was Bryan Kohberger. It was the proximity that it happened in relation to the Idaho murders, the timing, and it was the fact that it was mentioned out of Bryan Kohberger's mouth. So there was nothing you could do to prevent it. You just miss your friend, and it's very normal during grief to call your loved one that may have passed and even leave a voice message or tag them or do what you normally would do as if they were here. So I don't want you to feel responsible or accountable just because there's a bunch of assholes out here who are trying to make connections. They would have made the connections whether you made those posts or not.
Well, thank you. That honestly makes me feel a little bit better about it, because I kind of been battling with myself about that for quite a while now. So I appreciate that.
well, how are you supposed to determine, hey, you know, like there was a quadruple homicide that's occurred and I got to be careful of these posts because one day someone may pull it up and make a connection to, and I remember there was a video I watched where it was you communicating with someone and clarifying the post that Brent had made. It was a band that he had liked. And so a lot of them, I forgot what was the name of the band. It was a band that you were
Probably
like,
Tool.
yeah. And they talk in code. And then there was a lot of posts about God, you know, and relation
Yeah.
to religion and things like that. And but when people want to see something, they'll see it. Whether, you know,
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Thank you for saying that. That makes me feel better about it. So I
yeah,
appreciate that.
no, absolutely. Okay. And the questions are a little out of order. I wish I kind of structured them, you know, to keep
That's
them
fine. I have
all.
severe adult ADHD, so that's how my brain
I
works anyway. In fact,
struggle.
I'm considering turning the comments off because I keep reading and then I'm like, shit, I should be listening to her.
Well, and I'm trying to not acknowledge them, but you do whatever you want. You know, like it's totally up to you. Um, but okay. So, has Brent ever acted violently towards anyone before that you know of?
Fuck no, man. Absolutely not. Like I said, he wasn't a tough guy. He wasn't a badass, man. Never once. He would like me and him would get in arguments and he would just shut down. Like he did not like confrontation. And I don't know why he was like that. I don't know. I know a lot of people uh will shut down when someone raises their voice due to like trauma because like I don't know, maybe their parent was a dick
Mhm.
or whatever. I don't know why. I'm not saying that. I'm not fucking saying that, but I'm just saying that like he would straight up shut down if he got into an argument with someone or like I got damn near into a fist fight with my own nephew over it because Brent was living with my nephew and my nephew was being a total fucking asshole and was screaming at him and Brent was just like on the couch just like kind of cowering like a kid getting yelled at by his fucking stepdad. And then I stepped in and me and my nephew damn near fucking fist fought over it. He wasn't like that, man.
I think people make the association, right, with a veteran as someone who's maybe had that mentality, but you had explained, and it really hit me that you and Brent were freshmen in high school when 9/11 happened,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that is when Brent made the decision to sign up for service. And you were like, no, dude, don't do it.
Yeah, I
And
was
he
like, fuck
basically
that.
took those 4 years
Yeah.
and then decided, nope, I'm going to follow through with it.
Yeah. Yep, that definitely is true. Yeah. It was crazy. I remember him telling me about 9/11 because I was suspended from school that day. And
Really?
oh dude, I was always fucking kicked out of school. I was an asshole when I was young. Like my brother died when I was 14, so I just had like a
I'm so
fuck it
sorry for
attitude
your
after
loss.
that. And then I just always got in trouble and shit.
Yeah.
But I remember him telling me about 9/11 the day of, and I don't know why I remember this, but he was like, dude, the date is like 9/11, and he was like the first person to ever bring that to my attention.
Yep.
I don't know why I remember that. But he's like, I'm fucking joining the army. I'm like, fuck that. No, you're not. And he would talk about it every once in a while for a few years, and then he did it. And I don't even think he like told anybody like, hey, I'm gonna go sign up this week or anything. I think he just did it. And
Yeah.
it was just like, fuck, man, really? You did? And like, I was so terrified for him because it was during wartime too,
Yes,
you
it
know,
was.
like that takes balls to sign up
Mhm.
for the military during wartime because you know you're going to get deployed. And he signed up for 82nd Division on purpose, he told me, because he knew that he would see action and that's what he wanted to do. And I know it kind of contradicts with me saying he's not a badass, he wasn't a tough guy, he didn't like contradiction. But I don't know. There's people that are capable of being a soldier, and there's people that's not. Like there's big bad motherfuckers that get in fist fights and kick ass. There's fucking MMA fighters, some of the most deadliest dudes on the planet. They didn't fucking sign up for the military. There's a difference between a soldier and a fighter or a badass or whatever. He wanted to fight for his country. He didn't want to go over there to like, I'm gonna go fucking kill people. That's not what it was. He just, I don't know. He's something about him. He's always been real godly and real patriotic, man. He
Well,
always has been.
well, and that stuck out with me because, like I told you, my uncle had passed in 9/11, and to just hear that that was what, because you know, a lot along with a lot of people, it was that triggered them to sign up, and so it just, I wish, it just makes me upset. It circles me back around to what you said in the beginning, is that he fought for us, and now you have to fight for him, and I wish that wasn't the case.
Right.
Okay. So
I don't
the
know
next-
what this comment section means by sniper, but he definitely was not a sniper. I've heard that too, and I've also
No,
heard
Sniper is the name of another
okay,
veteran in the
because
chat.
I've heard people say that he was a sniper, and I've heard people say he was a ranger. That's not true. He was not in special forces. He wasn't a Green Beret.
Hmm.
That none of that fucking shit's true. And I'll say this too. I've said this before, but when that fucking dude was he literally said, I think because the YouTubers do this so they don't get in trouble or whatever, their videos don't get demonetized, like they'll spell killing instead of saying it.
Yes.
He's like, I'm sure you went over there, did a bunch of KILLING. I'm like, soldiers don't always come home and say whether they did or didn't,
They
and most of
usually
the
don't.
time, if they do say that they did it, they're full of shit. And I forgot what the fuck I was gonna say because I'm getting a little angry, but like he wasn't this trained assassin, this bad motherfucker. Like, but all of our soldiers are taught to kill. They're taught how to shoot guns. They're taught GFT ground fighting techniques. They're taught how to use a fucking knife. And I want them to know that as a soldier, because if they don't, what are they supposed to fucking do over there? Go to Afghanistan and talk it out and or do a fucking breakdance
That's
competition?
bullshit.
That's not how wars are won. They're not won with fucking shadow puppet contests, you know?
And that's what
So
they're
I
there
just
to
wanted to
do.
fucking
That's
say
their
that.
job. No, absolutely. And Avery, thank you so much. And I see your question and I have it screenshotted. Okay. So the next question is did Brent have a stable work history since his expiration terms of service from the army?
No, because he's a wounded veteran. He got paid by the VA. He didn't have to have a job. So
Right.
no, he didn't work. He wasn't a security guard at the goddamn college that a lot of people say. That's not true. The last job I know of him having was like at Menards when we were like before he signed up for the military.
Oh wow.
That's the last job that I've ever known of him having. He did tell me that he got like I don't know if it was a forklift operator license or a crane operator license or something. He said he was gonna do that or he did do that in Nevada, but I don't know if that ever actually did happen. But something in my brain does like kind of like vaguely remember him talking about something like that in Nevada. But other than that, no, I'm trying to think real hard about a job that he had after the army, and there's none that I can think of. Because I think if he did get a job, wouldn't he like lose his benefits? Isn't that how that shit works?
To a
Because
certain extent, you could make a certain amount of money while still collecting, as far as I know.
yeah, because if he was like on disability and shit, because he's got a brain injury and a spine injury, if the VA, I would assume, would be like, well, if you can fucking work, like then your back's not fucked up, and we're not gonna pay you. I'm
Right.
pretty sure like
Exactly.
that's how that would work, you know?
Right. Okay. So the next question is who were Brent's roommates?
I don't know. I don't know their names. I do not know their names. The only friend that I remember him talking about, I don't even have a name. In fact, because I've seen this before and I've had people ask me this before, and you know how you can like search in your conversations, like with through
Yes.
text message, you could put in like keywords and it'll bring it up and shit. I've done that like with the word roommate, and like nothing comes up with names.
Right.
He's never said anything like that to me. I remember him saying something about one time he's like, I'm gonna go to my buddy's band practice. I'm gonna watch his band play. He told me that like once or twice, but I don't know if that was a roommate or if that was just some dude he knew in Washington or wherever.
Right.
But I remember him saying that. But as far as I know, he didn't have like a bunch of friends and shit. He was kind of a lonely dude, and it's
Yeah.
kind of sad if you think about it. He didn't really have anybody.
Yeah. Okay. What kind of vehicle did Brent drive around the time of his passing?
Didn't have one. He got a DUI in the state of Nevada, I believe. I think it was in the state of Nevada, and he didn't have a vehicle ever since then. So fuck
Oh.
all you guys that say he had a fucking white Elantra.
Mhm.
Fuck you. He didn't even have a goddamn car, and I've been saying that shit forever. the
Well-
last vehicle he had a big white truck, and he crashed it. And this was way before the murders ever even happened. So, and he's never even owned a car, to my knowledge. The whole time I've known him, he was a pickup truck man. He's always had a pickup truck.
So you're
And
saying
another
he did
thing
not
too I would
drive.
like to address
Mhm.
is this dude. I'm trying not to fucking. All right, let me calm down a little bit. This dude who made a YouTube video about, and he was like, "Oh, this is his parents' house." When he showed that
Mhm.
photo, that's an old photo of the people who lived in that house before Brent's family bought it, and it's a crazy coincidence that there was like a white Elantra and a big white truck.
Mhm.
And for people that say they don't believe in coincidences, that
Mhm.
pisses me off. It's a real word, it's a real thing. Fucking look it up in the dictionary. It is a real event. Coincidences do happen. But no, that house was when they showed it. If because I've done this before too, dude. Um, I think even to this day, it's not updated. When I Google map my house that I lived in the last 2 years,
Yep.
it still shows the people's vehicles in the driveway who had it before me.
Right.
So fuck off with that shit.
And I'm just gonna pull it up just for so we could debunk it right here. So this is an old photo of the home, and these are not current vehicles, and it just so happens to be coincidence. Coincidences do happen, or else there wouldn't be. You know what I mean? Like, and Brent did not drive at the time of these murders. He did not drive at the time of his passing. As far as you know, it was at least a year, right, that he had last driven. So these vehicles are not even associated with Brent.
No, those aren't. That's not. No, and they didn't have like little kids, so I don't even know why they'd have a basketball hoop either. That is definitely the people who lived in the house before Brent's mom and stepdad bought it.
Okay. So thank you for clearing that up. But that doesn't go with the narrative people are trying to push.
Nope, I know. And like I told you off camera, it's like I think you said it. You're like, we're not here to convince anybody.
Yep.
And I told you I'll answer any question to the best of my knowledge, but I'm not going to be dealt with calling a liar. And the reason why I say that is because there's been positive videos about me on YouTube, and I still see the comment section. That dude's fucking lying. He's full of shit. And it's like, well, then I can't convince you, man. And I'm not here to. I don't give a shit.
Yep.
I can't say I don't give a shit because I kind of do. And I just got to stop watching these people's videos because if I don't see it, it can't hurt me, you know?
Right. Well, and that's why I'm saying, like, people, we all, even myself, part of the true crime community, need to do better, because when you're speculating and you're being accusatory, this damage doesn't just go away once the next person comes along. Because if it's not, before Brent, it was someone else. After Brent, it's other people, yourself included. But the damage is there, and it's a real impact that we're having on these people. They're real people. They're not just imaginary. And so I was just personally really upset by an entire video, not just made about Brent on such a large platform, but about you as well, making connections that clearly are not there, saying things that are very easily debunkable. And even when you debunk it, though, everybody in the comment section, and I hate to say people are stupid, but people are stupid. They will just take things at face value and then they run with it. And then they take that misinformation and spread it elsewhere. And so it's like bacteria, like it just keeps growing and it's everywhere. And once you like whack one, another one pops up another place. And so, and when I spoke to you, that's what you told me. You said, listen, I will answer any questions. I specifically asked Darin if he had any boundaries, if there was any territory he didn't want me to go in. You told me you would answer anything, but my answers are my answers, right? Some answers I don't know. I could only be honest, and that's it. If people want to take it, they take it. If you don't, you don't. But this is the truth, and that's all I'm here for, is to get the truth.
Yeah, and it's funny too, like the people in the comment sections, like they think they're doing their research, but their research are these stupid ass videos.
Yep.
If they really did their research, they would see that the owner of Buddy clearly states on video in an interview that the collar was found 6 feet away. And it's like, you can do that with a goddamn Google search. It's like,
it took us 4 seconds to debunk it.
Yeah, dude. It's just, it's crazy. Whatever. I don't know. Yeah, stupid people. Like you said, I'm not scared to say it. They're just stupid.
Yep. Well, but that's what I say. We as creators do hold a level of responsibility, because a lot of subscribers just believe that if a creator puts it out, it's fact. That's not the case. A creator will be the first one to lie to you if it brings in the views.
I'll tell you right now, in my honest opinion, the dude, that fucking clown boy that made that video, he knows what he's saying is full of shit. I
Yeah.
believe in his heart of hearts, he doesn't fucking believe that shit, but he knows that that video is going to get 100,000 views, and that's money in his pocket because YouTube fucking pays him for having videos and a big audience, and that's why they make those videos. And they know they're full of shit. And that dude, I commented several times and he would delete all my shit. And finally, I guess I got annoying enough to where he finally commented back. We exchanged emails and he asked me, do you care if I go over this or what? Since I'm on
Yeah,
topic,
you're good.
He's asking me like the first question out of his, I'm like, look, dude, I'm an open book. I got nothing to hide. You can ask me whatever you want. The first goddamn question this kid asks me is, what's your top 3 favorite horror movies that came out in the last 2 years? I'm like, okay. It's a Barbarian, Smile, and fucking, I forgot what I told him, Black Phone or some shit. Next, like, why are you fucking asking me this, dude? But, and then, so we exchange phone numbers, we text each other, and then I'm trying to talk to this dude, and he's like, I've been awake for 30 hours. I don't want to talk to you right now. Let's do it tomorrow. And I'm like, no, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it on my fucking time. Because you're the one seeking me out. I'm not going to drop. I'm busy tomorrow. I'm busy all weekend, as a matter of fact. Let's do it now. And he didn't want nothing to do with it. He ignored me. And then the next day, this fucking kid he's like, quit jerking off and answer my questions about Brent. I was like, bitch, you haven't even asked me a single question about Brent yet. And now I'm jerking off and not answering your questions. And then he's saying like, let's put this shit to rest. And you accepted a challenge. I'm like, this is when it pissed me off because I was open to talking to this dude and hopefully having his audience be like, oh shit, I guess Darin is a real nice guy and Brent wasn't involved. But when he talked to me like that, I'm like, fuck this kid. I don't owe him shit. I don't owe anybody anything. Nobody like has these answers. It's none of your fucking business. Just because it's in the news doesn't mean it's your business and you need to know. I don't owe shit to anyone. So fuck you. I'm not going to help him with the views by coming on his show and talking to him or even answering questions or whatever, because I don't know him shit. I don't know JLR shit. I don't know anybody's shit. Right. I'm here talking to you because you're supportive. And
you don't know me shit either.
No, I know, but I'm not scared of the combat. Like if someone's like, oh, fucking, what about this? And what about that? I'll answer any goddamn thing. I'm not scared to have somebody ask me some crazy off the wall shit or be combative with me. I'm not worried about that. If I was, I wouldn't go fucking live with you. I would have been like, email me your questions. And then I could sit for a half an hour and think of my answer. You know what I mean? So fuck those guys.
No, absolutely. And I think that it speaks volumes that if his concerns were legitimate, you would think that he would be thrilled at the opportunity to ask you any questions, right? To clear this up. Yet instead that he asks, what's your favorite? How is that relevant to what you're putting out? And it's dangerous. You're sending a pretty large audience and following in the direction thinking, and I hate all the people who are like, he didn't say it as fact. You know what he's doing. He's only doing that to make sure, liability wise, he's covered so he can't get sued. But you're still sending the swarm and the masses of people at innocent people, and it's just not right.
I'll tell you why I think he asked me the top 3 horror movies in the last 2 years. He could have asked me favorite horror movie of all time, top 10 horror movies of all time. I think he asked me the top 3 horror movies in the last 2 years. I could be wrong about this. People have to Google this and do their own research on this. But I think like the top 3 biggest movies at the box office, like horror movie wise in the last couple of years, was like Halloween Ends, Scream 5, and Scream 6. And he was trying to tie me. So he would probably assume that I would say those movies because they were like the biggest ones at the box office. And I'm always posting about Scream on my Facebook page because I fucking love that franchise. It's my favorite. I got a fucking Scream tattoo right here.
An award-winning Scream tattoo.
Goddamn right it is. Mm-hmm. But I think that he would probably say that. And if I did say that, then he'd be like, see, I fucking told you so, that he was obsessed with that movie. And then and Scream being like, a guy in a fucking costume and a mask and with a knife that goes into people's houses and kills them. I mean, what does that fucking sound like,
But coming from a man calling you out in a costume and a mask, right? So the irony in it.
Thank you. Exactly.
Just saying, no hate, just saying.
Yeah, and Halloween Ends fucking sucked, by the way.
Yeah.
I didn't even go
I
see
heard
it in
you saying
theater.
you hate you didn't, what was it? The first Halloween you also disliked also, right?
I think it's like one of the most overrated horror movies of all time. I get it that it was like one of the first slashers and it set it off and it's been ripped off for the last 40 something years. It kind of kicked it all off and I get it, but if you really go back and watch the first Halloween, it's pretty fucking boring.
Yeah.
And I know that the horror fans in here are going to be like, that's blasphemy, and they're going to want to stone me to death, but that's just what I think. And yeah, I'm not that big of a Halloween fan. My favorite is part 6, and I get made
Yeah.
fun of for that all the time. Yeah.
I'm not too big on I've never seen Halloween. All right, I'll just admit it. I just don't want to get attacked, but I've never seen Halloween.
That's all right. I kind of want to smoke a cigarette. Do you mind addressing your audience for like
Go ahead.
five
You
minutes
take
or
a
whatever?
break and
And then
I'll collect questions and then we'll come
yeah,
back.
that's if your audience wants to ask them or whatever, and then when I come back, you'll just have more. But I just want to get a cigarette in
Absolutely.
real
Yeah.
quick as I'm drinking beers and shit. So I'll be right back. Thank you.
Okay. Of course. Okay, guys. So, one, thank you so much, Carol freaking Claus, for the super chat. Thank you, Avery, for the super chat. I'm trying not to highlight them because I don't want to be distracting. I want to try to. That's true. I've never seen the Goonies either, but don't tell them that, okay? I don't want to distract, and just want to keep it in a questionnaire format. But my mods are collecting some of your guys' questions, but if there's any questions that you do have that you want me to grab right now that you may not have left on the comment section, go for it and I'll collect them. Thank you, Crime Lies and Videotape. He's a really nice guy. Thank you, Rena. He's a really nice guy. And again, if he had something to hide, he wouldn't be here. My whole point of this is, one, if we could possibly clear up some of the misinformation running around, because one, Brent deserves to rest in peace. Whether or not you may have your feelings on how he passed, we need to do better. Our veterans are struggling. PTSD is a real thing, and that should be the highlight of his story. Two, these are real people that were impacting, myself included, when I speculate and when I go down deep rabbit holes. It's okay to speculate based on fact, but what isn't okay is to drag innocent people and accuse them of being involved in something like a quadruple homicide. And so I know myself, I'm going to be doing better moving forward and be aware of it. But there are creators out there who are just straight up being accusatory, and I don't think that's right. And so I hope what you guys could see is Darin is a real person. The impact is real. We get to log off, turn off our computer, shut our phone off, and we go about our lives at the end of the day. But the damage is done, and he's struggling. And you even heard him explain how maybe if I didn't make this Facebook post, right? Maybe if I didn't tag him, there's no reason why Darin should feel responsible for his best friend being accused of a quadruple homicide, because through his grief and through his mourning, he wants to tag his buddy. And it's only been a few months, guys. Brent passed in December. It's been a few months. A little more than a few months. But he should be able to grieve however he wants to grieve. And we shouldn't be tearing every little bit apart. Hey, Malicious at 10. Okay, so yes, Bitch Franklin. So we did ask what Brent was doing for work, and Brent was not working. He was collecting. And by the way, what I'm planning on doing, guys, is after the live is over, maybe tomorrow, I'm going to go back and I'm going to write down all of the questions, and I'm going to write down his answers, and I'm going to make it a post so you could read it in like a transcript version, so you have a little bit more clarity. Because if you're like a visual person like me, I would love to be able to read the answers myself, and so that we could always refer back to it. I just wonder if here, but
I was also watching live on my phone while smoking a cigarette.
Oh, you cheater!
No, I mean, like, so I heard what you said about
The Goonies.
No, I didn't. I didn't catch that part. I caught the part just now about you saying going back and reading my answers or whatever for people that missed it. And like, if you ever want, if you get more questions, if you get enough, I'll come back on. I don't give a shit. I'll come on as many times as you want. I don't care.
I appreciate that. Well, thank you. Okay.
Answer one question. OCD Shaggy said, what made Brent move to the country to the West Coast? That's to visit his mom. His mom lived in Pullman. So that's why he moved to, it's the only goddamn reason why he moved to Washington. He hated it out there. He didn't make any friends out there. And I hope this doesn't piss anybody off or offend them, but he didn't like how he really disagreed with a lot of the political views of the people on the West Coast. And there's like hipsters and shit. He's like, there's a lot of fucking hipsters out there. So,
right.
But yeah, he did not like it out there. He always talked about coming home, and to him, home was where I lived. Audie Marsh is watching, by the way. He said that the comment section is off, so he was trying to comment to let everybody know, but I just saw that he's actually here. So,
hi, Audie. How are you? There he is. And Shay, if you want to drop Audie's link to his podcast, also Shay's been dropping the link to Darin's podcast.
I noticed that
podcast. Do you guys stream simultaneously to both channels at the same time?
We go live on 12 different platforms, like my
12?
Facebook, at the same time.
Wow.
My Facebook, his Facebook, our Facebook group, our Facebook page, my YouTube, his YouTube, our YouTube, Twitch. Like we go live on like 12 different platforms. And I appreciate Shay dropping the link. But our podcast is actually called Don't Blame Us Podcast.
Okay.
Cool Kid Collector is my independent YouTube channel. So
when we go live, oh, awesome, Audie. Okay, well, Shay, maybe if you share Wolfie, if you could grab Don't Blame Us. That's the name of it?
Yeah, Don't Blame Us. Yep,
Don't Blame
what it's
Us.
called. Yep.
Okay. So, next question. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever known Brent to have handled firearms unsafely or recklessly?
No, absolutely not. In fact, I've never even seen him do it.
Really?
We've never shot guns. We've never like gone to a range, or I've never even, this probably won't believe me, but I've never even seen him hold a firearm other than in photo. Yeah, never once. I know he had one,
Right.
and that was for protection purposes, but no, we've never gone to the shooting range. I know that he's fully aware of like all the state laws, like because he's told me about that. Like some states are a pain in the ass to travel with your gun because they got crazy laws and shit. Like Illinois, for one, is really bad. Maryland is like the absolute worst. I know he's never been to Maryland, but he was telling me about like how their gun laws are fucking crazy and shit. But yeah, he's never, and no, I know he's familiar with guns because he was in the Army, and like I have a ton of guns. When my dad died, he left me many of them, and I was asking him if he would clean them for me and if he could teach me how to take care of them, and he said he would. We just never got around to it. But no, I've never seen him ever even hold a firearm, to be honest. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's the truth.
It's the truth. Whether you like it or not, the truth's the truth, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, did Brent move around a lot, or was his address usually for long durations?
No, he always moved. In fact, he lived with me for a while, and he didn't even like have his address changed to get mail sent to my house. So, and he lived with me for quite a while on a couple of different occasions, and he never received any mail. So I don't know where his mail goes or went in the past. Probably his mom's or something, I would think. But I don't know. That's just me assuming. But no, he moved around a lot, and sometimes he would just camp, dude. Like he wouldn't even have a place to live. Like he would just pick a spot and just camp and live there for like months at a time.
You said he's a big outdoorsman, right?
Yeah, 100%. I know he did have like mailing addresses because he would send my kids stuff, and I have mailed him shit in the past, but I don't like, obviously I don't remember them.
Right.
But the last I knew, he had a PO box, I know. And, but yeah, other than that, I don't know what like his last address, like official one was or anything, but he definitely moved around a lot. He would live in hotels too. Like you could pay like the weekly rate and it's like way cheaper, and you can live in hotels. Like I know he did that a lot. He camped a lot. He'd rent a cabin for a fucking month at a time. Like he loved that shit. I got a bunch of pictures of him like actually like hand feeding deer. It was crazy.
I hand feed
Like
my
in,
raccoons, but
like in the wild, like this dude is like literally hand feeding deer. I was like, holy shit, that's crazy that they would like come up to you and you could feed them like that.
that
But he's like,
is.
yeah, it was wild. But no, I got pictures of him. I don't know if it was like a graham cracker or what it was, but it looked like a graham cracker in the picture.
Do you know when he moved to Washington?
Like 7 years ago. I don't
So he's
know.
been there for 7 years.
Yeah. I don't
Didn't
know the
that
I don't know
video
the
say differently?
what video. That
The
fucking clown
video.
boy kid.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what he said in his video as far as that goes.
I may
But
be wrong, but I thought he
no,
might.
I'm pretty sure because he lived with me like 7 years ago, and he got his own place in Illinois for a few months, and then he moved out of there and went to Ohio and stayed with our friend Dalton for several months, and then he moved to Washington State. So it could have been maybe 6 years ago, because but somewhere around there.
Yeah, because I knew that. Thank you, Nace, because he claimed Brent had moved within a month of Brian moving there. And that's why
I,
I'm like,
I don't know about any of that shit. I really
yeah.
don't know. And I don't know what month he moved out west
You don't need to
or
know the month because Brian had just moved to Washington a few months prior. So we know it definitely wasn't a few months. If you're saying 7 years ago, that's a big difference.
no, yeah, he's been out there at least 6 years. At least, because I'm just guessing with because he had his spot in Illinois when he moved out of my house, got his own like little farmhouse. He had that for a few months, maybe even a year. I don't know. And then I know he lived with Dalton for a few months. So I would say like maybe 6 years ago, because so I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, something like that.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. Next question is, does Brent barricading himself into his house sound out of character for him?
100%. And I think barricade is a strong word, and I think barricade is always used in standoff situations. Like if someone's not coming outside, they all like. To me, a barricade is like fucking sandbags and like concrete shit, board on the windows. That's barricading.
Right.
But if you lock your bedroom door and you're like, fuck you, I'm not coming out, that's not barricading. That's just not cooperating. That's just locking your bedroom door and not coming out. He didn't barricade himself. How do you barricade yourself in an apartment anyway?
I
Like,
don't know.
what do you do? Move it. And here's another thing. Like, okay, someone could be like, oh, maybe he moved his dresser in front of the door. Like, oh, guess what? When his brother went into his fucking his bedroom, this is weird to me. This is definitely out of character and weird to me, but he didn't have a bed, he didn't have dressers, he didn't have anything. The only thing in his room was his form, like his release form from the army, and a safe that was broken, and electronics that were broken. And I don't know if he did have a bed and shit, and the cops cleared it all out and they broke his shit stomping around, or if like when they did the smoke thing or the gas thing and he couldn't see, so he's stepping on stuff and breaking shit. I don't know. I wasn't fucking there. I really wish I was, because it wouldn't have fucking went down the way it did if I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot what your question was. I know I'm on a rant, but
well, no, I was.
Barricade. Yeah, I don't think he barricaded himself in his room. I bet he just didn't want to come out. He was probably fucking terrified, dude.
Right.
Seeing, like, I would be scared, PTSD or not. I'd be terrified. And I mentioned earlier that he got a DUI and he had to go to jail for that for a little bit, because he broke the law. And when you break the law, you got to go to jail for a little bit. And he hated jail. Like I said, he's not a confrontational dude. So I think he probably got fucked with in jail. He's not a fighter, and he hated it. And he did tell our friend Dalton, I will never go back to jail. I will never fucking do that again. And that could mean like, one, okay, I'm never breaking the law again. Or when this happened, he probably knew, fuck, I'm going away for a long time. And he was probably terrified to go to prison. And I don't know if, I don't think it was a suicide by cop thing. I really don't think that. I just think that, I think the cops fucked up that night. I think they made a mistake. I kind of think that, being the fact that it was so close to the murders in distance and in time, and being that it was, I don't know if it was on campus or near campus or what, I'm not sure. I'm sure the audience does, but I think that when like the roommates called the cops and like, this guy's got a gun. He's saying he's going to fucking kill everybody. I bet the cops took that very seriously. And they're like, oh shit, what if it's that guy that killed all those people at that fucking house a month or two ago or whatever? And I think that's what they thought. And then they killed him. And then they were like, oh, fuck, it was just a kid with PTSD. We fucked up.
Right.
And that's kind of why I think the phone was wiped clean and maybe the bedroom was cleared out. I kind of think that they were covering their tracks. And if people want to say that that's bullshit, like it's a conspiracy theory, well, that's more believable to me than all the other fucking conspiracy theories I've heard about him.
Yeah.
So pick your battles, people.
And would you mind, if it's not too sensitive in nature, because I know that you had talked about it on the podcast the other night, but would you mind explaining how it happened? Because you were the one who was contacted, correct?
That's true, yeah. This is crazy. I was at work. I worked from 6 p.m. till 6 a.m. and it was around midnight and my phone kept getting calls from the same number. And I would immediately send it to voicemail. I'm like, I'm at fucking work, man. And eventually I'm like, all right, whoever this is, it's got to be important. Maybe it's something to do with my kids or something. So I answer and she's like, I don't know if she used the word detective or what, but she's like, this is so-and-so. It was a woman. She's like, do you know Brent Kopaka? And I said, yeah, what's going on? Is he okay? And she's like, he's fine. He won't come. She didn't use the word barricade. She said, he won't come out of his room. He got into an argument with his roommates and he won't come out of his room. I'm like, okay. And she's like, was he in the military? I'm like, yeah, he was in the military a long time ago. Does he have a gun? I'm like, probably. And then she's like, would he ever hurt anybody? And I'm like, no, he's kind of a sissy. That's the word I use. And in hindsight, I wish I didn't say that about my friend.
Right.
But that's the wordage I use. I'm like, no,
well,
he's
you were
kind
trying
of a
to
sissy.
de-escalate too, you know.
Well, I didn't know what was going on, and I was being honest. He was kind of a, he didn't like to fight and shit like that. He wasn't a meathead, I don't mean he was a sissy, but that's the word that I used. And yeah, de-escalation, I guess, but I didn't know what was going on to begin with, so I didn't know if there was reasoning for de-escalation or not. But I asked her if he was okay, and she said yeah, and then she said, if I have any more questions, can I call you back? I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That was it. I get off work. Well, I text him a few times. I'm like, are you okay? What's going on? And I wouldn't get a response. And then when I got off work, I started calling him and shit, not getting anything. And then I think it was the next day, I want to say, I reached out to his ex-girlfriend on Facebook and was like, do you have any of his relatives on Facebook? Because I wasn't Facebook friends with any of his parents or brothers or cousins or anybody. And she's like, yeah, I'm friends with his stepmom. So I'm like, all right. So I sent her a friend request, messaged her. She got back to me pretty quick. And she was like, Brent's dead. He got killed by the cops. And I fucking called her through the Facebook Messenger thing. And she told me what happened, basically. And I'm like, well, they called me. And I could tell she was kind of upset. She's like, well, why the hell would they call you? We're his parents. You're like, what the fuck? I'm like, I don't know, dude. But they called me. And then I probably shouldn't have done this, but I ended up texting that number that called me that night at midnight. I'm like, I know you're probably not allowed to talk to me, but will you please tell me what happened to my friend Brent? And I'm not getting anything. I'm calling. She's not answering. And then I finally text her and I'm like, thanks for fucking murdering my friend and not telling me about it and lying to me on the phone. I could have fucking helped out and shit. And
yeah,
that's what I texted her. And
well, and you had expressed the concern that the reason that they had called you may have been because Brent was trying to get in touch with you.
I kind of think that's what happened, because why else would they call me? How would they have my number? I think that he's probably fucking terrified. And me saying too is like, I did fight his battles his whole life, and I would always talk him down with anything. Like if he was upset about anything in the world, he would call me and I would tell him, dude, it's cool. Everything's going to be fucking fine, man. Don't even worry about it. And he's like, yeah, you're right, dude. I'm glad that we talked about it. And I'd always make him feel better. So I'm thinking that he was probably yelling through the door, call my friend Darin. I want to talk to Darin. And they fucking called me. And I wish, if I would have known what was going on, I would have been super adamant about, like, let me talk to him, but I didn't know. She's just like, everything's cool, but he won't come out of his room. He got into a fight with his roommates. Like, she didn't say shit. She didn't tell me what the fuck was going on. She just asked me if he had a gun and if he was in the army and if he would hurt anybody. But I really wish that I knew more, because I would have fucking tried to talk to him.
Right.
And if I could have talked to him, in my honest opinion, I think that he would still be alive. He'd be in a lot of trouble and he'd probably be in fucking jail, but he'd be alive. And hopefully he could have got like help instead of like, oh, you're going to prison, boy. Hopefully they would have fucking put him in a hospital, helped him out. I really wish that they would have spoke to me because it wouldn't have ended the way it did. I think whatever was on that other side of the door that kept him from coming out of his room, I could have talked him into being like, put your fucking gun down, dude. Go outside. Let the cops arrest you. We'll get you out tomorrow.
Right.
Just fucking, don't die on me, man. That's what would have fucking happened. I think.
I'm sure you could never imagine that it would have escalated to that type of situation. So as far as you know, he had gotten into an argument with his roommates, but his roommates had left, right? And you said that
I don't know.
he was there for 8 hours. I believe you said on the podcast, right? He had been.
From my understanding, I was told that it was like a 7 to 8 hour standoff, if that's what you want to call it, for a lack of a better term. We'll say the word standoff. That's all I know. It was like, I think it was like 8 hours, and I tried this was like really surprising to me. I saw on YouTube that they had like the dispatch conversation and shit, the phone calls and shit. And I think it's like 4 hours long. I'm not fucking listening to that shit. And I would skim through it, fast forward, and I heard a female say something about like, we're outside with the roommates now. So I'm guessing, yeah, they probably fucking got out of the apartment building or whatever. And I would also assume that they probably, like being close to a school or whatever, gun involved, they probably got everybody out of the apartment building. I don't know. It wasn't there. I told you exactly what I know about that night. If anything comes back to me through this conversation, I'll obviously bring it up. But as far as that shit goes, that's pretty much all I know of what happened that night.
And I'm truly sorry that you have to struggle with those feelings of what if I did that, what if I did this, but there's no possible way that you could have known what was happening, and so you shouldn't have to walk around with that guilt. I know it's going to be a natural emotion, and I could tell you not to feel guilty. I know you're going to, but there's nothing that you could have done, right? We could sit here and say, hey, if I knew then what I know now, we could change a lot of things. But that's also what angers me is that you're already going through these, Brent left us in a very traumatic way. You have to have a lot of emotions associated with that. The last thing you need is a bunch of bullshit misinformation on top of that and dragging his name, dragging your name. And I'm sorry that you have to go through that because it's already difficult enough of a situation you're going through. And I'm sorry that people are adding to that.
Thank you. I appreciate the support. I really do.
No, absolutely. So you said that when the family went in, do you know how many days later that they had finally gone in to see that there was nothing in there?
One or two. I think it was, I want to say like 2 days later, but it could have been the very next day. I don't know. I just know his brother said that there was like no dresser, nothing, smashed electronics, nothing. So that's really weird to me because he was there for months, I think, before he got killed. I'm pretty sure he was living with those people for like a couple of months at least. And so I don't know.
He was in, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. So he was in Washington, but he wasn't in the same place the entire time.
What do you mean?
Like he was just at that apartment for a few months?
I think so. Like, I think he was, his brother said to me something along the lines of like, he thinks that he probably saw like a Craigslist ad or something, like room for rent, $500 a month or something. Cause we didn't know any of the people that he lived with.
Okay.
And his brother didn't fucking know him. I didn't know any of these people. So we're thinking that he just saw like room for rent, rented the room with those guys. And I'm pretty sure like he was there for a while. Like it wasn't like a couple of days or anything. It was like, I'm pretty sure it was a couple of months at least.
Right.
And so for him to not have a bed, a dresser, like where the fuck he sleep at? On the hardwood floor? No, man. But like it would make sense. I don't know. Like I guess
maybe
I would think he'd have a fucking bed.
Yeah,
you know?
Maybe the police took it out, and that you said you didn't see any bullet holes, right?
No, there was no bullet holes in the walls at all. That's what his brother told me. There
and
was
then his phone was face down on the kitchen counter.
Yeah, I don't know if it was face down, face up. I think it was face down on the kitchen counter, and it was like factory reset. And if they killed him in his bedroom and shit, if he was barricaded in his bedroom, wouldn't come out of his bedroom. Because I saw in the comment section, well, what if he did it himself? Like, I guess he could have, but as far as I know, he didn't come out of his room. So I don't think he would have factory reset his phone, set it on the kitchen counter, and then go back into his bedroom. But I don't know. I wasn't fucking there, man. And like, I wonder too, like, why didn't he call me? You know, like,
Yeah.
did he not? Like, why did
Did
the
he not
cops
have his
call
phone on
me?
him? Right.
I'm thinking he might not even had his goddamn phone, because I think otherwise he would have fucking called me and been like, dude, I'm so fucked.
Right.
You
Help,
know,
please.
and
Like talk to them. Like, I don't
yeah,
know how to get out of this. Right.
right. Because I don't know why he fucking wouldn't have called me. And I don't know if it was left in the kitchen, or if I don't know. I can't even speculate. I wasn't fucking there, and it breaks my heart too much to speculate, because I don't want to fucking try to like put myself in his shoes for that night, because I don't fucking know what was going on.
Absolutely. And we'll respect that. Do you have any idea how they got your number though to even call you?
I'm guessing he yelled it through the bedroom door. That's the only thing I could think of. Or yelled it
Oh.
out the window or whatever. That's the only
Because it
fucking thing I
is
could think of.
peculiar that they, if they were to look him up in the system, it wouldn't be your name that came up associated with him. It would be family members. So the question is how did they get your name? It was your number and they called you. It's very interesting to me. So
Yeah, it
Avery,
is really fucking, it's weird to me too. And like I know it upset his stepmom. She was pretty pissed.
yeah,
That they called me and not them. But his mom loves me. She's really respectful of me, and and his brother as well. They know how close we were. And his mom has even told me, like, you probably knew him better than I even did, and I'm thinking that maybe he probably wouldn't want them to call his mom, because then it'd be like his mom would be freaking out, like, oh my god, there's fucking cops, like, what are you doing? Like, he knew I would be able to talk to him without judgment and be able to fucking fix the situation, probably. Because if anyone calls your parents, or if, like, I don't know if you got kids or not, but if your fucking kid calls you and they're like, I'm trapped in a fucking room, the cops are threatening to kill me, you're gonna fucking freak the fuck out.
right.
So I'm thinking that maybe he was just like, fucking call Darin, but I don't know, man. I wasn't there. It really, at the moment and in hindsight, it still makes me wonder, like, why the fuck did they call me?
It haunts you.
100%, yeah.
See, and that's what I
And
feel
dude, to tell you the truth, like, if they didn't call me, I probably wouldn't have known anything was wrong with Brent because I wasn't friends with his, like, any relatives on Facebook. So, like, I wouldn't even have known he died, because, like, I don't know what the fuck would have happened if they never called me that night. I would have had no suspicions to wonder if he was okay or not,
And that lady never called you back, never answered
No, and
any of your calls, texts.
she wouldn't text me back, she wouldn't call me back, nothing. And so for that, like, I had suspicion to wonder if Brent was even okay. But to be honest, like, if the cops didn't call me that night for the last 6 months, I'd probably be thinking that fucking asshole is staying in the woods, got a new phone number, or didn't pay his phone bill and he's camping in the woods. But goddamn, it's been 6 months. Like, that'd be, I know it's a stretch, but I'm just saying, like, I would have had no idea what the fuck would have happened to him.
Right.
I don't know. It's just crazy.
It is crazy. And again, these are things that I think are natural for you to struggle with. And so it just infuriates me that that's already hard enough. And everyone's just adding on so many more emotions to that, to the point that you can't even grieve properly and process these emotions. It's been such a short amount of time since it happened. It's really, really quick. And you're too busy focusing on everyone else and all their bullshit versus addressing your own things that you have going on.
Yeah.
It's not right. Okay, Avery had asked earlier. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I hid the comment sections because there's a couple in here that are pissing me off, so I'm gonna hide the comment section now. I'm totally 100% open to answering these people's questions, but like, like, don't call me a fucking liar and don't say you're not buying it. If you're not buying it, that's on you. I'm not here to prove anything to you. So
okay, you guys, keep it classy and respectful. Again, he's willing to answer any and all questions. And unfortunately, when mods delete comments, it doesn't show on our end. We'll still see the comments even if they've been removed. Unfortunately,
if you're not buying it, I don't know why you're here to listen.
Yeah, just leave.
I'm not here to convince you or anything, but if you're not buying it, that's on you. I don't fucking care. You and there's other people out there in the world that doesn't believe me either. So you're not hurting my feelings. Fuck you.
Yeah, they're deleting comments down there. Unfortunately on our end, they'll still show. But just shut the comment section off. I will
Yeah.
relay properly to you. So just it's fine. So Avery had asked, did Brent ever mention to you anything about the quadruple homicides when it happened, and if he did, any type of thoughts?
No, not that I can remember ever. No, that never happened. I think I think my wife like mentioned them, like, cause she's big into true crime and shit. I
Mhm.
think like the only time I ever heard about it was like my wife talking about it. And then to me, it was just another news story. I didn't think anything about it. You know, this shit happens all the fucking time in America. And it wasn't until I Googled his name one night, I think. And that's when I seen all this bullshit. Or if I don't know if a friend told
Reddit.
me. I
You
don't
said
remember.
Reddit.
That's when I first hopped on and like saw like it was real crazy. But I think there were some TikTok videos I seen too. And I think that's maybe I got on Reddit next. I don't remember exactly. But Reddit was real bad. Reddit, I hopped on and tried to defend him right away and shit, and it was just way too many people to argue with.
Yeah.
But as far as Brent mentioned it to me, no, I don't remember him ever saying like, "Oh man, fucking 20 minutes away, these kids got killed." Like, I don't ever remember him ever mentioning it. Because
Right.
I bet to him it was probably just another news story, like, because this shit does happen all the time. Sometimes it gets
It does.
national media attention, and sometimes it
Sometimes
don't.
gets none. Yep.
Right. So I think he was probably aware of it, I'm sure. I mean, he lived,
Yeah.
what, 20 minutes away, I think. So
Mhm.
I'm sure he was aware of it, but I don't think he ever brought it up to me that I remember. That's a really good question. I could totally go in my text messages and do the keyword search thing.
Well, Google search. Yeah. No,
Google
awesome. I would
search.
appreciate it. Well, not Google search. Sorry, like
Yeah, like
keyword search.
if I could probably do that and like and see if something pops up about like murders or some shit. I don't know.
But
I
nothing.
never
Yeah, nothing
No,
pops up.
nothing pops out to me where he talked about like that incident or anything.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so the next question: why do you think that the cops killed Brent and instead of helping him? And I know you answered that a little bit earlier, as
Yeah,
far
I kind of
as
already answered
yeah.
that.
So
I mean,
you
I
do
could re-elaborate if you like, but I think that I think their initial idea was like, oh, maybe this kid was involved with a thing because it happened 20 minutes away, like a month before. That's probably what the cops think. And then after they killed him, they realized they're like, oh shit, this is a completely unrelated incident.
right. I mean, it was in the headlines. It was in the spotlight. There was this killer on the loose at that time. Then we have a similar situation where roommates are being held hostage, and in their minds, that yeah, very well, maybe they were like, "Is this going to escalate to that type of situation?" And they jumped the gun, and it wasn't handled properly. And that wouldn't surprise me as far as the phone being wiped or something like that. If no, the only,
Like
not
I said earlier, yeah, I
conspiracies,
think they
but
realized they fucked up and they were trying to cover their tracks. And you
yeah,
know, for all the people that believe in conspiracy theories, there's fucking way heavier ones out there. That's what I think happened. My own personal opinion. That's what I think happened. I think he got into an argument with his roommates. He probably said, "Fuck you, get out of my room or I'll kill you." I don't think he meant it literally. They probably didn't like him. They probably didn't get along. They're like, "All right, this is a way to get him out. We can get him evicted. Let's call the cops. Say he's got a gun, threatening to kill us." Cops show up, being close to a school or on school grounds. I'm not sure. I don't remember. And being the fact that the murders happened like a month before, fucking 20 minutes away, they probably could have been like, "This might be that dude. Holy shit. Fuck you. I'm not coming out of my room." Well, the guy's got a gun. He's not coming out of his room. They fucking stand up, stand off, whatever. They end up fucking shooting the kid after 8 hours. They go in his room and they're like, "Oh, fuck. It was just a fucking kid with PTSD." I kind of
right.
think they fucking got the shit out of the room, wiped this fucking phone clean, was like, "We're good. We're
That
gonna
wouldn't
go onto the
surprise me
news
at
and
all.
we're gonna say two unrelated events, PTSD, blah blah blah," and then the YouTube and the Reddit and TikToks and shit, they took it upon themselves to try to tie the two together.
Yep, 100%. That sounds like the most logical explanation, honestly.
That's what I think happened.
I agree. So the next question is did Brent's friends or roommates not tell police he suffered from PTSD? But again, that kind of, we already went through that. You didn't even have the opportunity. You had no idea the extent of what was going on.
Yeah, and I didn't know any of his roommates or anything. I don't even know their names. He didn't talk about them very much. Um, repeat. Oh, and I seen something too, like on the YouTube thing I talked earlier about the fucking dispatch thing.
Yes.
There's something, I didn't see it myself, but I heard someone talking on a YouTube comment saying that somewhere in that 4-hour dispatch video, they said something about Brent having schizophrenia. And like, that's, he, as far as I know, he was never like diagnosed with schizophrenia. So I wonder if like, I kind of think the roommates escalated it, man. They probably didn't fucking like the dude. He probably fucking drank in his room a lot, played his fucking music too loud. They probably fucking hated him, and he probably fucking hated them, you know?
Right.
And, I bet they were like, this guy's schizophrenic. He's got a fucking gun. And they were probably thinking like, oh, they're just going to arrest him. He's going to get evicted. And cool, we'll get a new roommate.
Right.
And I bet his roommates are like, fuck, we got that kid killed that night. Like, holy shit. That's, I think that's what I fucking think happened, man.
And as far as you believe, it is still an active investigation, right? As far as the officer who did shoot and stuff like that. So all of the information isn't going to be out.
Right. That Shay, is that her name? Shay?
Yeah.
She said something about it being an open investigation. I'm like, I don't know. I haven't looked into it much at all. I really haven't looked into it, so I don't know. But open investigation totally makes sense because it's only been 6 fucking months and this shit they don't close things immediately. I bet that cop is still going through an evaluation over the incident, and he's probably got to do quite a few things that he, to get cleared and to put him back in the, on the job and put a gun back in his hand and all that shit. There's probably a lot of hoops that you got to jump through, man. So it's probably going to be an open investigation for a long time, I would assume. But like I said too, it's like, who the fuck are you people anyway? You don't deserve answers right now, So if anything, his fucking mom and dad deserve answers right now.
Yes, but we don't. Like, that's what people need to realize. We aren't entitled to these answers. We may want them, we may be interested, but we aren't entitled. And Shay said the officer's actions must be reviewed, and he's still currently on leave. So it is an open and active investigation. And thank you so much, Angie. So it's just, I don't know if it's this generation, but we are we feel very entitled to every little bit of information.
I think, well, a lot of the people, like the younger people, is like, I'm 36, so I'm a part of a time period before cell phones and before internet, and I know after too. So I think a lot of the people that were born with phones in their hands, like, they have access to knowledge immediately. They can ask their mom and dad, how big's the sun? I don't fucking know. Google it, and then they can get whatever they want immediately. So
at their fingertips. And the moment you don't have that, you think you're entitled to it.
Right. Exactly.
Absolutely. Okay. So
I'm going to grab a beer real fast. It's right next to me.
Go ahead.
Go ahead and get your
grab
questions
your beer. Oh, to be 36 again. And again, I appreciate everyone being classy. Darin is here just to answer our questions. He's not here to convince anybody. If you don't agree with it, just leave. It's not a big deal. But I appreciate you all being respectful and being here.
You were right. You said 99% of your audience would be respectful, and there'd be about 1%. I've only seen like 2 things that kind of pissed me off.
But the 1% always tends to stand out more than the 99%. But someone said earlier, for every one asshole you see, you have 100 standing behind you in support.
Yeah, and I do appreciate all the support and all the nice comments. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, you deserve it. You've had a lot of negativity surrounding you. And for what? What was your crime? What did you do? It's absolutely ridiculous.
I guess I like scary movies, and that makes me a bad person.
Who would have thought there would be such a correlation, between being a quadruple homicide murderer and scary movies?
I don't think there is one. I think that, like I said earlier, they just they know what gets clicks, man.
Yep. Well, I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to point out one creator, but that correlation that was made with that movie and the actors are symbolic of the
Final
victims.
Girls.
Yes, and the tree line. The tree line. This tree line matches up with the tree line in Idaho.
If that even was a tree line in Idaho, I don't fucking know, but that's so easy to do, man. I could, if I was a smarter man with technology and shit and I knew how to make cool YouTube videos, if you go back and watch all my YouTube videos, it's just me with a phone talking and unboxing shit. But if I knew how to edit shit, I could do that too, It's like, fuck you, man. But I get it.
Stretch.
I get it, because if that's what these people's jobs are and this is their income, everybody's got to eat. So if that's your fucking income, YouTube, good for you. I wish I could do that. That'd be amazing. Not have to go to work every day and just fucking make YouTube videos. That'd be awesome. But you don't understand the lives you're stepping on doing it. You know,
Exactly.
like what the fuck, dude?
Exactly. And I think that that's what we need to be aware of is it's one thing to speculate and theorize. It's another thing when you are specifically associating it with an actual person, you know, like if you want to speculate, okay, someone else may be involved in a murder or something like that, that's one thing. But you cannot take an actual person and take their name and drag them through the mud. Everybody remembers the accusations, nobody remembers the retractions, but the damage is done. And
Yeah.
we should be held accountable because I think that what you said earlier really hits the nail on the head because I think these creators know exactly what they're doing. I don't think that they believe it versus it's something that's going to bring in views, but at what cost, you know, because it
Yeah,
could push
they
someone
don't
over the
care. They
edge.
can log off their fucking laptop and go to bed at night and they're not going to lose any goddamn sleep over it.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So why are Brent's parents not speaking out over the murder of their son, given that he was a veteran and the situation?
Because they don't fucking want to. They don't owe you people anything. They're trying to mourn over their son. Leave them the fuck alone. Now, I understand that some of the victims at Idaho 4, their parents are speaking out, and that's fine on them. Some people want to do it, some fucking people don't. People
Some are,
mourn.
some aren't.
Some people mourn. Everybody mourns in a different way. And no, they don't want to fucking talk to you. And I've reached out to his brother several times. Every time I've done an interview, I've done one with ABC Nightline and I've done one with Washington Post. Both times I hit up his brother and I'm like, hey, would you and your mom like to talk to Washington Post, ABC? And they're like, fuck no, man. We don't want to talk to these fucking people. I'm like, all right, respect. And like they would, like some of them would ask me, what's their contact info? I'm like, I'm not fucking giving you that. I'm not telling you their phone number or their email address or whatever. Leave them alone. Like,
Right.
and I talked to his mom about it's crazy, man. She saw Brent's mom and dad did see my thing on Hulu on ABC Nightline, and Brent's brother told me his dad really respected the way that I spoke about Brent and he appreciated it. And his mom messaged me on Facebook and was like, "Oh, Darin, I'm so sorry for you." And like she's telling me that she's sorry for my broken heart. And I'm like, don't worry about me, man. Like I'm worried about you guys. And I'm like, the reason why I'm out here dealing with these articles and interviews and YouTubers and shit is to keep them away from you. I'll take the fucking heat. Like, go ahead, fine. I'll, just lay back in the cut, fucking mourn, heal. Like you
You
don't got to do
deserve the
any of this
same,
shit.
Sarah.
I'll fucking do it. I'll talk to the people and just.
But
And
you
nobody asked me to do it. I didn't ask to do it. I didn't seek out anyone. I was contacted by Washington Post first, and I was contacted by a bunch of YouTubers right away, and I'm like, fuck you, leave me alone. I got contacted by what is his name, Steve Gonzalez, the dad.
You were
His private
contacted by Steve? Oh,
no,
his private.
his private investigator contacted me, and
Oh.
I'm like, I don't know if I should talk to you. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody. And she's like, look, she showed me pictures of her real PI fucking certificates and cards and all that. And then she sent me a video of Mr. Gonzalez saying, Darin, please talk to my private investigator. We want to figure out what's going on and we want to show the world that Brent wasn't involved. I had a fucking video of that on my fucking phone that was sent to me through Facebook Messenger from the private investigator.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, and then eventually Washington. So I talked to her. She's the first person that I talked to. And the second person I talked to was Washington Post and then ABC Nightline. And then now there's another like huge fucking company doing a whole documentary about it. I don't want to say because I don't want anybody fucking that up.
Yep.
And but yeah, so I forgot what your initial question was. I'm sorry.
No. My initial question was why the parents weren't speaking out, but
oh yeah,
I think it circles back around because they don't fucking want to.
Yeah, they don't
good
have
enough
to.
for me. Good enough
leave
for
them
me.
alone.
I'm
the closest thing to Brent that is willing to talk. So ask me. Whatever the fuck you would ask the parents, ask me. I could probably answer that question too. I don't know how much he weighed when he was born, but I can answer pretty much anything from 14 on up, the last 22 years or so.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I don't know where this is coming from, but it says, is there any truth to the FBI leaving their card to speak with Brent on his door? A, allegedly the roommate found the card. And B, if this is true, why would the FBI want to speak with Brent?
I've never heard that ever in my entire
Never
life.
heard it. Okay. There we go.
Yeah, when did this supposedly happen?
I do not know. It's a comment of
Well,
a question.
I would like to talk to the roommate that claims that he found that card, because I think he's full of shit. If that
But-
ever even happened, like
yeah,
if
but
the
if it
roommate,
ever even happened.
yeah, like someone could just be making that up, that the roommate
Yes.
said that. The roommate might have not ever even fucking said that shit.
Yep, 100%. Okay. Did you or Brent know Brian Koberger, the alleged murderer of the Idaho 4 victims?
Sure as fuck did not. Absolutely not. I 100% did not, and Brent didn't either. Like I said, he never told me about any of his fucking friends. I don't even know his roommates' names, but I 100% in my heart of hearts do not think that he knew that dude. I don't
Mhm.
think he did. And like I said, he didn't talk to me about his friends or roommates, but I don't think he did.
Okay. Well, thank you for that clarification. The next question, but you had
Prove to
already
me that
answered.
I can't prove to you that he didn't. Well, prove to me that he did, just like
Right.
everybody else.
Exactly.
does.
Reverse it right back at them.
Uh,
So you had already answered that, but it was, did Brent have many friends aside from you? But you had already said that he didn't really have that many.
Yeah, just me and Dalton, us three grew up together, and we were really, really tight. And I'm sure that he had friends from the military that he served with that he still spoke with and shit through text and phone calls and things. But as far as the West Coast, like in Pullman area, not that I'm not enough to where he told me about them. I don't know any of their names or anything, so he must not have had close enough friends to fucking talk about.
Absolutely. Okay. So do you know if Kopaka was cleared? Did they take Brent's DNA? Did he have an alibi that police checked out? Which I don't think you would know, but you've mentioned that they've cleared him.
Yeah, the his brother told me when I first told him about me speaking to Washington Post, he's like, "We don't want to talk to the media. Our thing is talking to the police and having them clear it. And they've already done it once, and we're trying to get them to do it again because of all the social media shit."
Right.
So they're like, because they already said it once, they're two unrelated incidents. And I know that his bloodline family has been saying, like, could you do it again? And I don't know if they have or not, like stated it again, but they're probably, if they haven't, it's probably because like we already fucking did it once, man. Like, leave us alone. Because the cops are probably like, they don't have the heart when it comes to shit like that. They're like, it's like a doctor telling you that your wife is dying. Like he's got to say it with a stone cold face, no
Right.
emotion, So the cops are probably just like, we already did it once. We're not fucking doing it again. But
Right.
so as far as I know, that they straight up said they're two unrelated incidents. As far as DNA goes, why
And there
would
was an
they?
article posted the same.
I don't know.
Yeah, there
Probably. I
was.
don't
That
know.
said they had no relation.
And as far as DNA goes, why take his DNA if they're unrelated incidents? In fact, I'm sure his DNA was left behind. If they fucking shot him in the head, I'm sure there was plenty of DNA evidence in that room they could have collected.
Right.
And I'm sure being in the army, they probably got his fucking DNA. And I'm sure that if the FBI really, really wanted to, they could contact the army and get some kind of file. I don't fucking know. I don't know how that shit works, but why would they even collect his DNA to begin with? It was for what? Like,
well, to compare it against the DNA that was found at.
right, but they obviously didn't do it because they didn't think that it was necessary.
Well, it was a match to Brian Koberger's. That's the part that people are leaving out. So.
Oh, right. Because wasn't there like a half a thumbprint or some shit or
There's
skin DNA or something
on the
on the button?
of the knife, on the sheath
Yeah,
of the knife, and
that's
it
what
was
I
like
heard.
octillion% Brian Koberger. So,
well, the thing with DNA, it's like it's either you or it's not. It's
right.
not like, oh man, it might be him. No, it's like in the 90s, back in the OJ case, DNA was really, really new. And when they used it against OJ, they were like, yeah, same blood type and this and that. And everyone's like, he didn't do it.
Yeah.
And but that was like in the 90s when it was still pretty fresh. But now it's like, no, motherfucker, if they got your DNA, it
Look
was either
with
you or it
Rex,
wasn't.
the Gilgo Beach serial killer, just, for DNA, the mitochondrial DNA, they weren't able to test the DNA back then the same way that they're able to test it today. And bam, now we caught this serial killer.
They caught a few like that, right? Like, wasn't the
Yep.
Golden State Killer caught like that?
Exactly.
And they probably still connect people, like motherfuckers that's already been executed, and they find a body and they're like, oh shit,
Might
I guess.
clear them too. Yeah.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. I want to take another bathroom and cigarette break. Is that all
Go
right? You
for
want
it.
to talk to your audience for about
Absolutely.
5
Yep.
minutes? All right, I'll be
I
right
got
back.
the audience. Shaq, yeah, if you could take a second to hit the thumbs up, that would be greatly appreciated. Everyone needs to leave Brent alone and let him rest in peace. I 100% agree. Is there any questions, even though I still got a lot, but is there any questions that we haven't addressed that you guys have for Darin? If you ask a question and you see that I don't ask it, that's probably because I have it in my packet of questions already ready to go. Two totally different things in process. Okay. Well, thank you, Modine, and I appreciate you behaving. I gotta put this pillow behind my back because my back hurts. He's a really cool dude, like Katie. And oh well, thank you, Malicious Intent, and it's so good to have you here. Thank you for coming. I just, it just makes me sad. That's a good question. Shaq, does he have a support? Does he have support for himself throughout this tragic loss? And that's my thing. How is he supposed to go through these normal emotions of grieving? How is he supposed to process all of this? How is he supposed to support himself when he's too busy debunking and clearing him and Brent's name? It's just, again, I'm looking at it from my perspective too. As a true crime creator, I need to do better. I need to be aware that it's really easy to sit here and speculate, but these are real people, and we got to not be quick to jump the gun, because we log off, we shut off our phones, we walk away, yet the impact's already there, and it's never going to go away. I don't have questions, just a bunch of outrage for Brent's poor family. I agree. Hold on, guys, 1 second. My leg was cramping and I wanted to adjust without you guys seeing me completely adjust. Okay, listen. I needed to do like a full adjustment. If you have herniated discs, you know what I mean, okay? Sitting in the same spot for a period of time, it's hard, and I didn't want you to see me do the whole adjustment. You know what I mean? Hi, trust no one. I didn't fart. You may have heard me. All right, I'm not even gonna try. I didn't fart. I wouldn't fart on an interview. I'd fart after the interview, not before the interview. Hi, just Amber. Okay. So I'm not even gonna bother asking, was Brian a roommate of Brent's, because I think we already got past that. Okay, guys. Okay. You know what? This is perfect. Let me pull this up while we're waiting for Darin to come back.
All right. Thanks for letting me take my bathroom and cigarette breaks. As long as I can do those, I'll talk to you all night. I don't give a shit.
No, you're good. You're great. Okay. Now I'm going to get into the infamous photo of
The machete with
The
the blue
machete.
ribbon around it.
with the
Yeah.
blue ribbon around
I
it.
took that photo in my basement where I'm sitting right now. I took that.
Could you just explain to us a bit of the backstory before I even get into
Yeah.
the details of what's being alleged?
Yeah, 100%. So when Brent lived with me 7 years ago, when he moved out, he forgot a bunch of shit in my garage. He forgot clothes. He forgot drawings that his little brothers did for him. He forgot like some artwork, framed artwork that he bought at like a thrift store. And one of the things he forgot was this machete, and it was hanging on my garage wall. Me and him used it a lot in the backyard of the house that he was living with me in because I just started renting it and the yard was kind of shitty. And we would use it to fucking chop up like all the little bullshit trees and stuff. So there's plenty of dirt on it. And he forgot this at my house, and that's why I have it. And I was drinking. I don't know how many days after he died I made this post. I don't remember, but I'm sure it's there. I was drunk. It was late at night. I was in my bar. I stuck it in the bar stool, and I put like a smoke grenade thing by it that I bought from an Army Navy surplus store. I set that next to it. And what the blue ribbon thing is you can see it on chewy.com. I could even probably, I don't know how to post it. I'll send it to you in a direct message. The actual link of the actual toy. It's a blue and orange Nerf ball from chewy.com. And it has this long, like rope ribbon thing on it. And it's blue and orange. And it's like super braided and really tight. And I got 2 pit bulls. And like I would hold on to the ball and they would tug on the fucking tail of it and it would just get ripped apart. And a lot of those blue and orange bullshits were laying around on my basement floor. And when I stuck the machete in there, like sitting on the floor right there, I grabbed it and I tied it around the handle, thinking it would look patriotic. That's what I was thinking. That's why the Army thing was in there in the photo. And I think I might have put one of his pictures in there too. There's also a patch in the original photo from OIF. Operation Iraqi Freedom. Brent was OEF, Operation Enduring Freedom, but there was a patch from OIF that Audie Marsh gave me, and I just wanted it to look like an army picture type, like a memorial thing type thing. And I took that picture and then I posted it on Facebook, and I was like, "Miss you." Something to the effect, now no one's allowed to sit in your bar stool because like your machete's sticking in it. But I've lived in this house for 2 years. Brent's never even been here. So, like, that wasn't his bar stool. It was just me being drunk and sad. And I made a stupid fucking Facebook post. And in hindsight, I realized how dumb it is and how kind of immature it was.
Not.
You know,
that's
like
the problem. You shouldn't be experiencing, this is dumb because someone is going to connect this to a murder one day. That's the problem. You're not the problem. Your posts aren't the problem. We are the problem. That's the truth. And is this it?
That's the exact toy, yes. That's where the blue ribbon came off of the fucking long ass tail part. It's a piece of that. That's exact. And fucking feel free to zoom in, do whatever you got to do. I can't prove it to you. I don't have that toy anymore. This was 6 months ago. If anyone in the chat has pit bulls, they know how fast they go through toys. I don't give a shit how durable they are. And you don't keep around ripped up toys that you can't play tug of war with anymore. And if the squeaker's gone, you usually toss those out too. And it was just a ripped up ass toy. It's fucking gone now. I can't prove it to you, but that's exactly what it was.
Right. Well, and for anybody who doesn't know, there was the whole speculation as far as Buddy the dog, who, is a horrific situation where he was skinned, and there was this whole speculation or narrative being put out that the ribbon that is around the machete is actually Buddy the dog's collar. Okay. Except there was an article, and this is the part that pisses me off, is it takes just a minute to like debunk this type of stuff. But there was the article where it explained, yes, Buddy the dog as a puppy had a blue collar, but Buddy the dog as an adult had like a black faded collar. And the owners of Buddy the dog completely clarified that his collar was found near his body, and they have the collar, and they are shown in a photo holding the collar. But people are making the connection, not only Brent to these, this quadruple homicide, but Brent now to the Buddy the dog skinning, and somehow lands up in Darin's home around Brent's machete, and boom, I didn't mean to say boom, but boom, like there it is. And it's so easily debunkable, and one that's way too long to be a collar. The size of Buddy the dog was a very tiny dog. Do you know how much slack you need to even tie an actual, like, a bow like that? So it's, thank you for clarifying. And it just saddens me to hear, like, multiple times tonight that you say, I shouldn't have done this or I shouldn't have done that. No, that's the problem. You didn't do anything wrong, and you shouldn't be struggling with any type of guilt or regret that your post, your memorial post, or your tribute, or you just wanting to leave something for your friend. How else are you supposed to communicate to him, right? So you may leave a Facebook post because you want to let him know you're thinking about him, and then you have to sit here and feel responsible because people on the internet take that and rip it apart. That's not on you. That's on the people who do it.
I want to play something for the audience here. I'm going to put my phone up to the microphone. So this is verbatim. This is from Buddy's owner. This is in an interview. Listen to this.
That was about it. They really never came in about the one sheriff's deputy who did go down and look at the crime scene, because there was a crime scene down there, and it was in the field, and 6 feet away was Buddy's collar.
Boom. How's that for a boom? I don't know if you could hear it or not, but she said
6 feet away was Buddy's collar.
Yeah, that's so. There you go.
See, but people would much rather believe the conspiracy behind it,
It's,
right?
it's
Because
it's more
juicy.
fun. I get it.
Right.
It's more fun, but it's not fucking fun for me, man. I believe in, aliens and all this shit. Like, it's fun. It's fun, but not
Right,
not
that's
not the
legit.
conspiracy theories that you guys are doing. This shit's not fucking fun for me.
Well, and I think that was very impactful what you just said. I get it. It's fun, right? It's interesting, but it's not fun for me. And that is the entire point, is it's so fun and it's comical and it's interesting and it's juicy, but not for Darin, not for Brent's memory, not for Brent's family. And I think that needs to be highlighted and known, because that's a problem. And then the
Right.
next thing surrounding the machete, there is, and I don't know if you've seen this photo before. So
I got the
there's
machete
this-
right here. If you guys want to see it, I'll show it to you.
I'd love to see the machete.
This machete has been in the hands of the whole ABC Nightline crew that came over, and they filmed me with it, and I showed it to them, but it didn't make the episode for whatever reason. But yeah, I fucking got it. And another thing too that I realized a mistake I made in the post, and I think it was a different post though that had to do with the machete. I said something to the effect of one of Brent's machetes he left me. I think that's the words that I used. But Brent didn't leave me that machete. He didn't give it to me. He forgot it when he moved out. And I don't know why I said one of the machetes, because that sounds like he had a bunch of them, or at least more
just
than one.
Yeah.
And that's not fucking true at all. It's sitting on my pool table. I'll go get it if you want. Hold on.
Well, and the speculation regarding this is a photo of Dylan holding a machete. And you see Xana and Ethan, and people were running wild saying that this is Brent's machete. Wrong. It's the wrong type of machete. So I want to go through.
So here's the machete in its
hold on. Let me
sheath.
put you in solo layout. There we go.
This is it in the sheath. The brand is Gerber. It's been used very heavily. That is see how there's mud and shit on the tip? That's from me, like, after I'm done using it, I throw it into the grass so I know where it's at, and then I'll, like, pick up the shit that I cut down, like the branches and bushes, and I drag them to the fire pit, and then I go back to where I was working, and I pull it out of the fucking ground and start hacking away again. I don't know what happened to the audio, but you cut out.
I'm right here.
All right, there you are. But yeah, this is it, and it's I don't know. Here's fingertip to elbow is about how big it is. I don't know about how like big K bars are, but this isn't the murder weapon. Just so you know, this thing's never left my house. It hasn't left my possession in 7 years. So
Right. And so I don't, you walked away when I was showing it, but hold on, wait. How do I take you out of it? Okay, hold on. So this is a photo of two of the victims, one of the roommates holding a machete, and people are claiming that this is Brent's machete. Except, as you just showed, that was
really,
a
that's a picture of the people that got killed.
Yeah, one
Holy
of them.
shit! That's what a coincidence that they're holding a machete and
What a
pretending to be afraid.
coincidence, right?
That's crazy.
What a coincidence,
Yeah.
except it's the wrong one. So they are holding is a jungle machete, as you can see right there. Right, very different. What Darin is holding is a Gerber. Okay, I know you guys don't like to pay attention to actual facts, but they are not the same machete. Totally different brands. Okay.
That's the post, yeah, where I was like one of Brent's machetes. That's the one where my stupid drunk ass fucking worded it.
But again, stop doing that, because that's not how you should be thinking. Like, you should walk away being like, fuck that. I will make, and I hope it doesn't deter you from making posts in the future. And I know it must be like, well, shit, if I do, it's going to go down this whole conspiracy, but you should be able to honor Brent or just communicate your feelings and express yourself however the fuck you feel like doing that. And I hope it doesn't hold you back, because fuck everybody. Seriously.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's I'm not used to this. Hearing you know, like the support and stuff. It's weird. Most of the comments I read on the YouTube videos are like, that fucking guy did it or some shit. It's crazy.
Well, you know, and I'm sorry that you have to experience that. You know, it's not fair, but I just want you to stop blaming yourself if possible. I know it's a lot easier said than done, but you didn't do anything wrong, and this isn't on you. This would have happened even if you didn't make any posts. I told you, as soon as Brian Koberger mentioned it, that was it. People went crazy.
Yeah, he when I talked to the private investigator, point she made that she thinks the reason why he might have got pulled over in the first place is because he was, both times he was pulled over was following too closely.
Mm-hmm.
And she was saying that maybe because he was trying to hide his tags, like, because you know, maybe he was trying to hide his license plates and shit. But yeah, for him to say that, like, oh, we just left this place because there was a shootout or something or whatever he said, and it was really hard to understand it. And it's funny too that when the cop asked him, where you guys going, he's like, we're going to get Thai food, and the dad's like, well, we're really going to, you know, Pennsylvania or whatever. But like, why would he say, like, oh, we're on our way to get Thai food? It's like, well, what's your destination? Like, where are you really going? You know, I know people do, and like when you get pulled over by the cops, you're super fucking nervous as it is. I totally get it. I'm not, you know, saying, I'm not trying to fucking be an asshole about that, but there's like times too where like he looks at his dad like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Right. Yeah.
But again, I don't know him, you know, so I don't know how he behaves, but
well, and people are saying that Brent would be proud of you defending him and everything that you have done. And what you said earlier, as far as you always fought his battles, and you're still fighting them now, you know, and you're sticking up for him, and you have his back.
I think he would be 100% embarrassed about all this, because he didn't even want to have a Facebook. I had to convince him into getting one, and if he knew what the people were saying about him, he'd probably be just riddled with a fucking panic attack from the time he woke up to the time he went to bed. He'd be freaking out like, why are these people fucking putting my face on the internet? Why are they fucking talking about me? He'd probably be embarrassed. But I do kind of think, like, yeah, he probably would be proud of me. And like we said earlier, his family's not speaking out. I am. And I think I'm the man for the job anyway. And I'll defend him till the fucking day I die. And I'll definitely speak for him. So hopefully he is proud. And I think that if there was anyone on the planet for him to choose to defend him, it would be me, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing a pretty damn good job.
Well, thank you. I truly appreciate that. Someone did say they had one question for me, and they asked if Brent ever sold knives on Marketplace. No, not that I ever know of. He didn't like talk about knives or collect knives, or he definitely didn't sell them like that. Why would he sell knives? It's not like he didn't make them, or like I don't know why you would even do that.
People are trying to see, because we don't know how Brian acquired the K-bar knife. So is it possible that Brent may have sold it on a marketplace?
Oh, I see his point. I see your point. No, man, and not that I'm aware of at all. I've never heard anything about him doing that. And I heard too that somebody emailed our podcast and they spoke very highly of you, Melissa, and they said that they were excited for this interview or whatever. I call it a conversation. I don't think it's an interview, but anyway, they said that there's a YouTube channel that you do not like, and they don't like you, I think, Truth and Transparency or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe this person has said in the past something about like that Brent and Brian were like chopping up lines of coke with a machete, and they were like in the driveway of the house or something, and then Brent said something about a snitch or something like this, and like that shit is hard for me not to fucking laugh at, because first of all, I've never known of anyone on the planet chopping up lines of coke with a fucking
machete. Who are we, Pablo Escobar? I know.
It's not practical. You know, and if you're in a car doing lines, it's probably on a CD case with a credit card
and a little credit card and a dollar bill. Let's be real.
So it's just stupid to me. But yeah, I'm not gonna watch that person's videos. I'm not watching anyone's videos anymore, to be honest. I've said that because it's just like, you know, if a tree falls in the woods and there's no one around to hear it, doesn't make a noise, and it's like, well, I can't be hurt by what I don't see, you know, so fuck them.
Exactly. And I appreciate you even taking the space and time to come here and address this. And I just really hope that at least, and like I said, I'm going to transcribe your answers the best I can. So anytime anybody tries to question this shit again, I will just drop it right to them right there. Here's your answers. Cut it out, you know, like,
yeah.
And no, can we stop everyone? No. But even if we could stop a couple, then I think, you know, we achieve something.
Yeah, I almost did say Truth and Conspiracy, and I had to think for a second. But yeah, that's what they should change their their title to, Truth and Conspiracy.
I said the same thing though when they said that. Basically, they said that Brian was working to uncover this drug thing going on, and that Brent managed to get Brian's DNA on his machete and sheath, or no, his knife and sheath, because they were cutting up cocaine. And then Brent went in, did the killings, and framed Brian by placing the sheath there with his DNA.
Like I said, Brent has never even been in a fist fight for as long as I know him. He does not have it in him to go inside of a house and fucking kill a bunch of fucking people. There's no fucking way. It's so stupid. And I don't ever see him being friends with that Koberger dude either. I just don't, because he'd probably be like, this guy's fucking weird, man. Like, you know,
Brian is weird. Brian is weird, and Brian didn't, as far as we know, didn't have like any friends either.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know nothing about that dude.
It's awkward. Yeah, I refer to that person as Voldemort here because it's the name we do not speak of. So I kind of appreciate that you fucked up the name.
Okay.
But it was pretty accurate for a fuck up. Truth and Conspiracy.
Well, fuck you, Voldemort. Fuck you.
Fuck you, Voldemort. Absolutely.
And fuck you, Drip Drop 2 and Crime Circus. Fuck off. I hate you. All right. So I got that out of my system.
Good for you. Okay. So Do you know? Okay, where is Brent originally from?
As far as I know, I think it was Colorado. I think he lived in Colorado as a little kid, and he lived there probably till like fucking 10 or 12 or some shit, I think. I don't know. I'm guessing. And man, I don't know. That's a question that I would have to ask his brother or his cousin. I'm not going to ask his mom like anything because I don't want to, but
Right.
I could totally get back to you on that. But as far as I
Yeah.
know, I think he lived in Colorado for quite a while, like as a kid. And then I think he had foster parents in Indiana when he was a kid too. But by foster parents, I think it was just like he just lived with his aunt and uncle, I'm pretty sure. And that's the cousin that I would have to ask. Her name's
Okay.
Sarah. She's really cool. I'd have to totally get back to you on that one. I don't know. But I know that he did say a lot to me about Colorado. And in fact, I found out after he died that because I knew he lived in Colorado and I knew that he had foster parents, but I always assumed it was in the same state. But then I realized after he died that his cousin, like, oh shit, his cousin's from like Indiana or some shit. I wonder if his foster parents, the aunt and uncle he stayed with was in Indiana, and that's how he came to the Midwest to begin with. But I don't know. That's just me putting shit together. But I don't know. I would have to. I would totally ask his cousin, and I'll get right back to you on that shit.
Absolutely. What do you think about all of the comments people are making in regard to the shrine you had for Brent?
It's not. It wasn't a shrine, and the word shrine pisses me off because a shrine to me is like something that you would put up like permanently, like you would keep it there on display. Like this is my like dedication to him. This is my thing. This is my shrine. No, it wasn't a shrine. It was me being fucking drunk and sad, and I fucking stabbed the fucking machete into a bar stool and took a picture of it and put it on fucking Facebook. It wasn't a goddamn shrine. That's such a stupid word to use.
Mhm.
I have a shrine for horror movies. Like that's what my bar is, my basement. Like there's just
What?
horror
You
movie
like
stuff
horror
everywhere.
movies? I never
No,
would have known.
I actually like romantic comedies.
Yeah, I
But
was
yeah,
thinking rom-coms, but okay.
but no, the word shrine to me is just ridiculous. It's stupid. But I mean, for people that don't know me outside looking in, I guess that's an easy word to use. Like, oh, he made a shrine for his friend and a memorial. Like, you think
Mhm.
I'm just gonna leave a machete sticking out of a fucking bar stool forever? Like,
Yep.
I have 2 little kids, dude.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not
Mhm.
this maniac that's just gonna leave fucking giant knives sticking into a bar stool. That's dangerous.
Yeah. It's
And another
dangerous.
thing I want to say is machetes aren't weapons, they're tools. I guarantee, like, yeah, people have been killed with them. People have been killed with hammers, screwdrivers, also tools. I guarantee there's been somebody killed with a fucking pen before. I can almost guarantee that someone's been stabbed in the neck with a pen and died. Like
Oh yeah.
a machete's
Oh
a
yeah.
fucking tool. And if you go to Walmart, Walmart has like anywhere from 5 to 7 different kinds of machetes, and they're always sold out. Why? Because everybody fucking has them. Because they're a fucking tool.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. Okay, this one. Okay. So have you seen the photo of Brian and Brent at a game?
Who?
Brian and Brent. Brian Koberger and Brent at a game together, allegedly.
Oh,
I'm gonna pull it
I
up.
thought you were saying a last name like Brent at a game. I was like, what?
Oh, yeah,
No,
Brent at a game.
no, Dags the Distraught. She's got a YouTube channel and like
Mm-hmm.
she's
I
like
know.
one of the first people to like talk shit about me. But like
Yep.
we're okay now, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
no, she sent me a picture and she's like, "Is that Brent?" And I'm like, "No." Why? And I think it was like a basketball game or something. And like Brent wasn't even into sports or anything, is what I told her. Like, I don't even see him going to a fucking game. The kid didn't even like going to the goddamn grocery store because his crowd anxiety was so severe, you know. But honestly, no, that's zoom in as much as you want because there is not a single fucking person in that photo that is Brent Kopaka. No
Well,
fucking goddamn way.
they said, and people use this as straight boom. There's the connection. That is Brian Koberg, which I listen, I'll be fair. If you zoom up, could it and you only see the eyes and eyebrows, does it look a little bit like Brian's eyebrows? Sure, but that is not Brent. It doesn't even look like Brent.
Which one are they saying is? That dude. No. First of all, Brent wouldn't be caught dead with a mustache.
Mhm.
He's always had a fucking luxurious beard. That handsome fucking prick. He was fucking such a handsome dude, and I was always so jealous of his beard. But no, he
He
wouldn't be
was
caught.
very handsome. Yes.
He wouldn't be caught dead in a mustache. Are you fucking serious? No, that's not him.
Well, and whoever this is, poor dude, right?
Yeah, him too. Yeah, no shit.
Poor
There's
dude.
another victim for you.
Yes. Well, and thank you, Punksy, and thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you so much, Darin, and I appreciate this so much. They said, thank you. But yeah, like this, this doesn't even look like Brent, and I'm not even super familiar with Brent. Obviously, I've seen the photos out there, but you guys, people who I saw a screenshot of.
Let me grab a photo of Brent, and we'll let the audience compare.
I would love that. Thank you. I saw a screenshot somewhere of somebody inboxing, I forgot who relative this case. It may have even been Darin, and it's like, oh yeah, well you're saying that Brent and Brian didn't know each other? Well, how about this? And they showed that photo, and they were like, explain it. And it's clearly not.
This Brent is Brent.
Brian.
Extremely handsome stud muffin. This is Brent Kopacka.
He was very, very handsome. Gnarly beard, too.
Oh, that's nothing. He's had him go down to his solar plexus. Like, he's had some righteous beards. That's Brent Kopacka.
Right. The other dude, not so much.
Now go ahead and show that other dude again if you like.
Okay. It's so different. Yeah.
I don't know where these people get their ideas from to where they can just say shit and be like, oh, people will believe it. Like, who the fuck thinks that's Brent? That's crazy. Dude, I don't even think I've ever seen him in a winter hat, to be honest. Now that I'm thinking about that too, to tell you the truth. Stupid people. And this guy you could tell by his sideburns that he has like longer hair under that winter hat. Brent's always had a shaved head our entire lives. Even before the army, Brent always had his head straight up shaved. I've never seen that man with hair.
Not even close, guys. Not even close.
It's not him.
No. So when was Brent's Facebook created, and was it active at his time of death?
Well, I don't know when it was created exactly. I'm guessing like a month or so before he died, maybe a month or two or something. I really don't know the exact
recently
fucking date, death. But it was super recent to his death, and it was definitely active after because I was tagging him in shit and I was putting stuff on his Facebook timeline, and his brother took it down because of that, because of the Machete thing. Because when I first saw it on like TikTok and Reddit and stuff, I messaged his brother and I'm like, hey, dude, do you see all this stuff about Brent? And he didn't see any of that shit. Like, I brought it to his attention and he's like, fuck, all right, I got to get a hold of my mom and I got to do damage control, like to make sure to tell his mom, like, hey, don't Google Brent's name. There's a bunch of bullshit. And one thing he did mention to me was, you probably shouldn't have posted a picture of a machete and tagged him in it. And then I said, I'm like, are you assuming that this is my fault? And he's like, no, but we should totally keep his name away from knives, like because of what happened. And now people are saying that he was involved with the thing. And I'm like, well, I didn't fucking know that was going on. I just made this fucking Facebook post, I don't know if the assumptions, not connections, I don't know if the assumptions were being made before that Machete post that I did. I don't know if it was going on before that or not, but I didn't notice it until after that.
In regards to Brent?
Yeah, right.
100%.
100% what? It was happening before I made the post or after?
As soon as we got that body cam foot. Okay, so as soon as the situation happened with Brent, it was going around. Now, it wasn't going around necessarily that he framed Brian, versus people were talking about it. Then the moment that we got that body cam footage of the traffic stops, people went wild. So I don't know.
So they were saying shit that he was involved way before I made that post then. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It
I
was
wouldn't say
not on
way
YouTube.
before because but okay,
It
yeah. Well,
pretty
that's
much
good.
since Brent's death, people were talking about it,
Okay,
and
well, that
it
makes me
just got
feel better
yeah, it just got
about the fucking
significantly
post.
worse. And as soon as, because we overanalyze everything in the true crime community, and we don't have that much information surrounding these murders. So when we had this first time we're able to see Brian on camera, he got stopped along the way. What were the few words he said? He mentioned, what was going on with Brent. And so people just went crazy. And that's what I'm saying. Even if you never made a damn post at all on Facebook, there'd still be the conspiracy out there. There'd still be this
Yeah, and
narrative that's not on
no,
you.
I mean, one thing too, I guess, is like notice how he didn't name drop. He wasn't like, yeah, I heard Brent
No.
fucking shot people
He got an
or
alert on his
standoff or
phone.
whatever. Oh, was that what he said? Okay.
He got a literal alert because it's campus and they get these alerts. So yeah, he didn't necessarily, it's not like he went out of his way even on the news to see it. Being a student, he got the alert.
Someone saying, is it possible that Brian went to Indiana to plant the knife somewhere that Brent lived in the past to frame Brent? I don't know why you would even say that or think of Indiana. Is Indiana involved in this at all?
Did
With
at any point Brent live in Indiana?
Oh, I was saying that when he was a young kid, I think that his foster parents or aunt and uncle, I know they live there now, but when he was a foster living with them or whatever, I I think it was Indiana, but it could have been Colorado. That's why I got to ask his cousin that. But why would I mean, even if he did live in Indiana, it was when he was a
As
kid,
a kid.
when he
So
was
unless
like
he
like a
planted that
child,
knife,
like 10, 12, 13 before I met him, you know?
right.
And I know he
Right,
lived in
people
Elgin,
love that.
Illinois. Like I think he lived in Elgin like right before I met him. I think it was Elgin, Illinois. But I want to see a couple more because I want to ask these questions too. I don't want anybody to think that I'm dodging questions here.
Well, yeah, I'm about to be done with my questions. John's about to ask the chat. If you have questions, send them now. And
Yeah,
we'll
because I'll
highlight as
answer
we
anything.
go. Just try to ask the question without being accusatory. Like so with Wakinian, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but like if you wanted to know if Brent had lived in Indiana, that's fine. But to add because he planted the knife sheath and Brian saw, that's the part that I don't think it's necessary.
That's super weird to me. Like I don't
Right.
even know why anyone would think that. And it doesn't even make sense because like the sheath was found at the scene, right, in Idaho, but like there was no weapon plant. Like, did they even find the weapon? They don't even have the weapon, right?
Not that
So
we
like
know of.
how would the weapon be placed in Indiana to blame Brent when Brent lived in fucking Pullman to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand why anyone would even think that. Someone asked while Brent was serving, did you two stay in touch and talk often? Yeah, all the fucking time, every chance we got. He would write me letters, and I feel like a dick, but I didn't write them back much. What I would do is I would leave him funny voicemails, and he would always be like, "Dude, you need to write me." And I'm like, "Well, I call you all the time, and I leave you funny voicemails." He's like, "Yeah, but it's different than having like a physical note in your pocket when I'm out in the field. It's like all my buddies are getting letters from home, and I don't get any. Like, you should write me." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I started writing him. I started having my friends who didn't even know him write him. Like, we all just started flooding him with letters and shit. But like I said too, the whole time he was in the army, when he came home, like for vacations and things like that, he was at my house. He would stay with us. He'd visit his mom and dad too. Don't get me
Right.
wrong, but he would stay at my house.
Okay, so I have 2 questions on my list left.
All right, and then I want to scroll back because like there's a good one here. What's your favorite memory of Brent? And this one comes to mind a lot. It's super fucking dumb, but we went to the mall and he bought a new pair of shoes, and me and him were drinking in the garage. We were kids. We weren't old enough to drink beer yet, and we skateboarded and we both fucking sucked at it. And I think we sucked at it because we were too scared to like try new things because we didn't want to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, this fucking dummy sets his goddamn shoes on fire in the garage and the fucking flames are going up, and like the fucking black smoke is covering the garage, and we're teenagers, right? So like we're fucking up my dad's garage ceiling. I'm like, but Brent's like, no, fuck that, don't open the garage door. And like the place is filling up with black smoke, and we're fucking laughing about it. And then we eventually open up the garage door, and as the smoke clears, we see this big black spot on the fucking ceiling of the garage. Yeah, and like my dad's gonna fucking kill us, dude. And I think my dad came out and was like, "What the hell did you guys do last night?" And we were like, What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, what's all that?" And we're like, "I don't know." Like, it's just fucking, okay, you know. But my dad loved Brent very much, and when Brent came home to like visit us, and like when we were kids, like we got away with a lot of dumb shit. But I'm pretty sure he was in the army at this point when we lit those shoes on fire. Whenever he came to visit us, like it was free game. Me and him could do whatever like we could do no wrong, because my dad's like, that boy is old enough to fucking serve his country. Like he didn't buy us beer, you know, and it was like a don't ask, don't tell thing, you know. He didn't buy us beer and shit. We had to go to my older brother and he would buy us beer. But yeah, we weren't 21 yet. But I think like when he came home and would visit, we would get shit faced in the garage at 18, 19, 20. And my dad, I think, was just like, if that boy's old enough to go to the fucking war, God damn it, he can drink a beer at my house. And it was like a don't ask, don't tell. Don't be dicks about it. Don't leave beer bottles all over he knew we were drinking. And in fact, the next day, I lived by a conservation area, like a conservation district, like a park. And we were still trying to hide it from my dad that we were drinking and shit. And so we would put all the empties in the cardboard box, like right back into it. And then we put them in the trunk of his car. And the next morning we woke up and we drove to the park to throw it all away in the garbage can at the park. So my dad couldn't be like, I know you guys were drinking because I see him in the garbage can. And some dude fucking wrote down Brent's license plate number, and he was giving us shit about like throwing away a fucking beer bottle. Like we didn't throw them in the grass, we put them in the garbage can.
Right.
But clearly we weren't old enough to drink beer yet, and this guy was just being a fucking, I don't know, lack of a better term, Karen or whatever. But he was freaking out because he's like, dude, like, because like he had a pen and paper and everything. Like he was writing it down. This is before like everybody had a cell phone with a camera on it, you know. And it's just, that's one of the fucking stories that's just fucking hilarious to me. So stupid. It's such a dumb fucking thing that we did. But yeah, the fact that he wouldn't let me open the garage door because it was black smoke, and he's like, no, leave it shut. And I'm like, no, we're gonna fucking die in here, you dumbass.
Oh, that's so funny. Yes.
I think earlier I said Ohio. I meant to say Iowa. When he lived with Dalton, I think it was in Iowa. I think it's like the Quad City area, because our friend, I should say, Dalton has a tattoo parlor down there in Iowa. And I think Brent, when he was living with Dalton, I'm pretty sure it was in Iowa, but I think I said earlier Ohio, and that's my bad. I fucked up. So
fair enough.
To answer your question, yeah, I think it was Iowa.
Awesome.
It was either Ohio or Iowa. I don't know. I always mix up Idaho, Ohio, and Iowa. I always mix those three up.
I mix up North and South, so I feel you. Mikey wants to know, what's your podcast about, bro? I could use a break from this true crime when the drama gets going, even though I'm hooked.
It's a comedy-based podcast. I like to think I'm funny. But I'm a freelance paranormal investigator.
So
sorry,
cool.
I'm like fucking 6-7 beers deep, so I might start sounding silly. But anyway, I'm a freelance paranormal investigator. I go to a lot of haunted locations and spend the night and shit, investigate. So a lot of times we talk about that. We review horror movies. We talk about aliens. I believe in aliens. Audie does not, so we get in heated discussions about that. We do cover true crime, but it's always stuff in the past. We don't do the current shit. Like we've done episodes on West Memphis 3.
Nice.
Yeah, we did an episode on that. We did an episode
I would love
on
to see that.
Charles Manson. We did an episode one time, like See How I'm Live here in my basement. One time I went live and we did an episode about Jeffrey Dahmer, but I was live in the actual hotel room that he killed his second victim in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Wow. Yes.
So that's a pretty fun episode. And Audie is hilarious in that episode because
I really like Audie.
He's a rad dude. He is also military. He was OIF,
Yep.
Operation Iraqi Freedom, and he's currently in the military. He's a military police officer, and his wife is a cop too. Very stand-up individuals. I love them so much.
Right.
But the Jeffrey Dahmer episode's a really, really funny one. We don't make light of the victims, like we don't make fun of them or anything like that. It's just we just crack stupid jokes.
I use sense
You'll
of humor as
see
a
when if
coping
you watch.
mechanism. Some people think, hey, how can you laugh about talking about such horrific things? And it's like, if you don't laugh, you're gonna cry, you're gonna get angry. You have to. I do that too. I use humor also, so I love it.
But I would love it for if people went and checked out our podcast.
Hell
That'd be
yeah.
cool because that's why we do it, so people will watch, and we don't have many people that watch us, so whatever. But again,
Well,
I'm not here for clout, and I didn't
I
come
know
on
that.
here. I didn't come on here to do that. Notice
You
how
didn't even ask me to. I asked you, what's your
Right.
link? You know, like, let me get this. And so, Sandy, this is the link to the Don't Blame Us podcast. And Shay has been dropping it throughout the entire live. Thank you, Shay. So everyone should take the moment to click over and subscribe and then come back here. So you guys, I'm going to go over and I'm going to watch that. I want to watch the West Memphis 3 episode and the Dahmer because that sounds really awesome.
Yeah, and we did one on Charles Manson. We also did one on Marilyn Manson. We've done one on like Jonestown, the fucking place where they all killed themselves and shit. I
Yep.
don't know why I can't think of that guy's name. Something Jones,
It's
right?
It's what's it called?
Someone in the chat will know, but
No, but I know this, but I can't think
Yeah.
because now I'm on the spot. It's don't drink the Kool-Aid.
but it was Flavor Aid, by the way, just so everybody knows. But yeah, that's where the saying "Don't drink the Kool-Aid" comes from. But yeah, it was
Jim
Jonestown.
Jones. Jim Jones.
Jim Jones, yeah, that
Wow,
guy
I'm
was.
really embarrassed with myself right now.
Me too. To tell you the truth.
Like I know how many victims there were and everything, and like I can't.
Wasn't it
even
like
remember.
900 or some shit?
Over
It was like
900?
yeah, that's
900,
wild.
Like 92
Have
or
you
something.
listened to the death tape?
Yes, I have.
Oh, I was gonna say if you haven't, don't, because that's some of the most traumatic shit that I've ever had to fucking listen
Mhm.
to. It was because I did it for research for the podcast episode, and
Yep.
it depressed me for like 3 or 4 days straight up. And another thing too that really, if you listen to the 911 calls during 9/11, is fucking devastating.
I have an entire 9/11 series, and I have watched every square inch of every possible footage out there regarding 9/11, and it fucks you up. It really does.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard
You
to
can
deal
listen
with.
to all the 911 audios. You could listen. There's a specific man who called in, and you could listen as the towers are going down in real time while he's still on the 911 call.
I
And
remember
it's-
the one where the lady called and she's like, "It's so hot. I'm literally cooking. I'm gonna die here." And the woman on the phone was like, "No, you're not gonna die. You're gonna be fine." It's
They
like, could
had
you
to.
imagine having that fucking job? Like,
Yep.
I stated in a podcast before, like PTSD, you don't have to be a soldier to have PTSD. I bet 911 operators have PTSD, dude.
Yep.
Think
And
about
they
all the
were
shit they
off
hear.
the hook. They were off the hook that day, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
could do nothing. And thank you so much, Eric. That means a lot to me. Yeah, you can listen to, and again, you know, like if you're part of my Patreon, I have an entire 9/11 series over there where I cover every square inch of it because, like I said, my uncle passed in 9/11, but the official narrative, and I don't mean to get conspiratorial, but that's based, I could spit facts all day long as far
It
as
was
the
Dick
official
Cheney's fault.
narrative is not the correct one. But it
I
was
think it
Ken
was Dick Cheney.
Cosgrove. Ken
was what?
Cosgrove is the guy who called in, and you could hear the towers going down while he's
Oh.
on phone with 911.
There-
911, and it's
There's a park like fucking a mile from my house where they have this giant beam that was a part of the building,
same here.
and it's like in the park, and I thought that was really cool. And it's like
Mhm.
the whole park is like based on like military memorial stuff. It's a really cool town that I live in.
Well, absolutely, Anyanka. It's there's not one part of 9/11 that makes sense. Whether you look at the architecture, the engineering, the plane, the protocol, airports, every single thing about 9/11 does not add up. That does
If-
not mean the victims are not real versus the official narrative is not the
Right.
correct one.
Do you listen to podcasts?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you don't? I was gonna say last podcast on the left is like my favorite, and they did like a 3-part episode, so it's like 6 hours. like 2-hour episodes, and they did the deepest dive I've ever. It's wild the shit that they say. It was like the guy breaks down the difference between heat and temperature, and it's such a nerd conversation. But there is an actual difference between heat and temperature, and people think that like I don't know. I kind of don't want to get into it.
I'll talk to you
Like the 9/11.
privately.
I would love to come
because
on sometime and we can
I
discuss conspiracy
would
theories,
love
aliens,
it. I
horror
don't
movies,
like
everything.
calling
I would love to
9/11
do
a
that.
conspiracy theory though, because it is
Well,
true.
It happened.
Okay?
I didn't mean it like that. I
No,
was
I
just
know, I
saying
know.
that.
But
There are
and I do the
conspiracy
same
theories
thing.
for 9/11 though. Like 9/11
Yeah,
was a real event, but there are conspiracy theories attached.
absolutely,
Like
100%.
even some people think that 9/11 was an actual satanic ritual. Some
Yeah.
people actually believe that. I don't know if
Yeah,
you've gone that deep down the rabbit hole.
I've
but
gone as deep as you could go regarding 9/11.
It is absurd.
And yeah, it's what was the name of the podcast that you just referred to?
Last podcast on the left.
Podcast on the left.
Yep. They're
I don't
amazing.
think I have a podcast, Dave Base. I have a channel. I don't call it a podcast though. Podcast, I think audio only, not visual.
Well, me and Audie have a podcast, and we do audio and visual. Joe Rogan does it too. A lot of people do it. I
fucking love Joe Rogan. He is so. I guess technically, I have listened to podcast Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
but I watched JRE on YouTube before he moved to Spotify.
Oh, okay. You confused me from like JRE. I always just called him Joe Rogan.
Yeah, no, Joe
Rogan. Confused me for a second. Yeah. Do you have any more questions, or I was gonna, because I'll hang out with you all night long. But if we're gonna hang out longer, I was gonna take another bathroom and cigarette break real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely. I'll gather any last questions. You could go.
All right, cool. I'll be right back then.
Yep, go do your thing. Okay, so if anybody has last round of questions for Darin, send them now. And I would love to get him on just for a conspiracy live. Aliens. You guys know. You guys know I love my conspiracy stuff. But I do think there's a big difference and it's strange because I've been always the conspiracy person, but not in regards to true crime. There's a difference. I love a good conspiracy, but I don't agree with attaching these actual people with conspiracies. Well, it didn't. It was a controlled demolition along with the rest. And how was it that the BBC broadcasted that Tower 7 fell while Tower 7 was still behind them in the live footage? I have done a live on the Skinwalker Ranch, and I could absolutely do another one. Can we adopt Aaron? Yeah, we're Darin, not Aaron. Can we adopt Darin? Absolutely. I've asked the question 5 times. Well, I apologize, Patricia. I've been doing my best. I made it clear in the beginning that I wasn't going to be really focusing on chat because I'm going to be focusing. And I gave people a few days of a heads up to send your questions in on the community post for this specific reason. So I'm doing my best, but you can let me know now while I am aware of the chat. Thank you. I would love to trust no one. And I got to air my episode because I'm so excited. I have one more episode to air on Patreon before I do my live episode and discuss the new information coming out regarding 9/11. It's both, Dave Base. And what I mean is not that I don't like conspiracy surrounding true crime versus I don't like when people go way off like they're doing in the Idaho case and implicating innocent people. That's what I don't like. But I think we could all agree that JFK is both true crime and there's a conspiracy surrounding it. Well, there's new footage, Harlot, of the plane going into the Pentagon. And I've been sitting on it, waiting to go over it with you guys. And so I'm excited for that.
I noticed that's you guys were discussing about adopting me. I would love that. I would come back on anytime you guys want about any topic. That would be great.
I would love that.
I also believe that Willie was on the grassy knoll and he was involved in the JFK shooting.
Absolutely was. It's always Willie. Oh, the Bob Lazar live is interesting. Yeah. Okay.
And
so
someone else said they asked a question like 5 times or something.
Yeah,
and
I think this is it. So when did Darin and Brent realize that they would be friends for life, and did they acknowledge it to each other?
As soon as I saw him wearing a corn shirt, man.
A corn shirt. Nice.
Yeah, because we were in like 7th grade, and where we lived, it was mostly either gangbangers or jocks, like the preppy rich kids, or gangbangers, and there were like no metalheads. There were some skateboarders and stoners and metalheads, but like very few, and they all kind of hung out together, but not like they still kind of stayed separate. But when I remember him on his first day of school, because you could tell he was a new kid, never seen him before. Our junior high was very small, and real tall dude, bald head, trying to grow in a mustache like a normal 13, 14-year-old would. And now I know I said earlier that he never had a mustache, but when we were young kids, before we could grow facial hair, it always grows up here first. So that's what I meant by that. But anyway, yeah, he had a corn shirt on, and I'm like, fuck yeah, another metalhead. And I actually asked my girlfriend to approach him because I was nervous. So I asked my girlfriend to ask him if he listened to metal and shit like that.
Really?
And then she introduced us, and we became friends immediately because he just moved here. So like he didn't have any friends either. He was probably dying for a friend, probably felt super awkward. And he would spend the night at my house all the fucking time. And then Dalton too, because Dalton was already my friend, and us three, we would just spend the night at each other's houses, bouncing back and forth every weekend, every chance that we got. So we were best friends immediately.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So we have, did Brent have a connection to any of the officers that were involved that day? And I know that's not something you'll probably know.
No, I don't know. That's I have no idea if he would or not. I don't know how he would have.
Right.
Unless he,
people are saying it, so it must be true, right?
That's I don't know. That's a really weird question. I guess it's a good one because I don't have the answer to it. So technically, I guess it's a good question.
Saying, and with such
that he knew the cops, or like he knew a cop or something.
Brent had association to one of the cops involved, and it's
I don't know. He never told me that he had a friend that was a cop, so not that I know of.
Right. Okay.
Sorry, I wish I had a better answer for you. Or whatever.
I want the truth again.
That's all you're gonna get out of me. So
yeah,
it's just
people suck it up. It's the truth we're looking. It's the truth. That's all I asked for, and so I appreciate it. Did you ever try to speak with Brent's roommates to understand what happened or why?
No, I don't even know how to get a hold of them. I don't even know their names or anything. I've had a couple other YouTubers message me on Facebook and be like, was Brent's roommate's name this? I'm like, I don't know, dude. I have no fucking clue who his roommates were. He never name dropped his roommates to me. I just know that he did not like them. He was just renting a room from them. They didn't get along very well. And like I said, the only friend that I know of that he ever mentioned to me when he lived in Washington was he told me that he was going to go watch his band practice, and he didn't even tell me that guy's name. So I would love to talk to his roommates.
I was going to say, if you had the opportunity, would you like to?
I would love to talk to every single one of them. I would love that.
What would you ask them?
I would ask them what fucking happened that night, man. Like, what started the argument? What started the goddamn argument? That's what I want to know. And why were you guys so scared of him? Or why did you call the cops on him? Or, like, what the fuck happened? Because he definitely did not deserve to die over what happened that night. And I don't know what happened that night, but even if he did say, get out of my room or I'll fucking kill you, or turn the music down or I'll fucking kill you, if he said some shit like that, I know for a fact he didn't fucking mean it. I've said things like that before, like, I'll fucking kill you when you're pissed off at somebody or something, but you don't mean the shit. Yeah, I would love to talk to his roommates. I really would. So if anybody knows his roommates, give them my information, please.
Yeah. Well,
Melissa has my email address, and
I'm sure it's possible, like the true crime community could do damage, but at the same time, the true crime community are pretty damn good at pulling up information at times. So
yeah, they can be,
that's why I was going to say, if you could, would you? Because if I ever stumble upon that information, I'll pass it along if it's something that you want.
I would love to talk to them, any of them. I would love to talk to somebody that, even if they didn't know Brent, that was just lived in that building.
lived in that.
I want to know what fucking happened that night because we don't know. We don't know what happened. We just know that the cops got called on Brent and he was killed.
Yeah.
For like a fact, we don't know why they were called. We're just going off of what people are saying. We weren't there. I want to talk to somebody who was there.
And you had heard that they shot gas into Brent's room, shot him
I
with
heard
big
that. I don't
bags
know.
and tear
Yeah.
gassed him.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true, but I was told
Right.
that they tried negotiation tactics. They tried giving him a phone. Like, this is where I'm really confused. Like, how did they give him a phone? But I did hear this, that they gave him a phone. He wouldn't answer it. He wouldn't talk to them. And then I heard that they tear gassed him, and I heard that they tried like beanbag bullets on him, and eventually they fucking shot him in the head. And
But with the personality you're depicting to us, could you imagine going through all those things and then what? Him just fighting back so hard to the point where it escalated to taking his life?
I think the cops fucked up that night, and I think after 8 hours they gave up and they fucking killed him. That's what I think. They're cops too, and they got fucking homes to go to, and maybe their shift was ending or something. I don't know what happened, but they fucked up. They dropped the ball, and it landed on all of our fucking foot.
Right.
And they fucked up. And I think that I think they just got sick of doing the standoff for 8 hours. Like, all right, this kid ain't coming out. He's not fucking talking to us. Fuck him. And I think they fucking shot him. I think they fucked up.
Well, and I think either one, the roommates had part of removing items from the room because he obviously would have had a bed. He didn't have just like a PlayStation and a TV with nothing in there, you know? And
Right.
as far as the phone being factory reset and sitting there,
That's super
if they
strange to
did
me
jump
as
the
well.
gun, yeah, that's super strange. And I don't want to see anyone running with conspiracies over that one out of the whole, all the answers that you've come on and given us. They're going to focus on like that one thing. But there
What
could
one
be
thing?
that the phone was like a factory reset. And, people are going to be
Oh.
like, oh, that's because, he was a patsy. He was the, something like that. Meanwhile, there could be a
Oh, that
variety of
patsy
reasons.
shit is
Mhm.
fucking stupid. And
Yeah.
people were saying that he was man, some of these shit is wild, that he was special ops and a
Mhm.
patsy, and like he knew all this. Fuck no, he didn't. That's just crazy. The guy fucking served in the military. He fucking went overseas a couple times. He got hurt. He came back. He got out of the military after his 4 years. That's it. He didn't work with the goddamn government anymore. I don't think he was a patsy. I think he got into an argument with his fucking roommates, and the shit escalated, and it got stupid, and the cops killed him. That's what fucking happened. And it just sucks. First of all, it sucks. Second of all, it sucks that it was fucking 20 minutes away and a month away from a crazy murder.
Yeah.
That's it, dude. What's this question?
Only here for snacks says, is it possible that being basically ambushed by the cops, did it trigger his PTSD to where he got stuck in almost a flashback and thought that perhaps they were enemy combatants from the war or something like that?
I've heard a lot of people like suggesting that. I don't think that he like lost his mind and went into flashback mode and thought he was in war. I don't think that. He definitely had PTSD, and like, but I don't think he just like wasn't Brent anymore and
Right.
was fucking
He didn't
back
have a
in the
mental break.
war. I don't think that's what happened. But like, for example, one time me and him were driving to Wisconsin, and we were going to my brother's memorial race, and it was this traffic jam, and we weren't fucking moving at all. And he started kind of freaking out, not freaking out like screaming and yelling, but I could just,
Anxiety and
he was, yeah, exactly. He was just fucking shaking. And I feel fucking terrible, but like I was getting kind of upset with him, and I'm like, dude, like just relax, chill out. But now I fucking understand. I get it, and I wish I was more sincere about it, instead of just being like, dude, calm down. We're all good. Like, it's fine, but I think what happened was it probably reminded him of that time, like before they hit an IED. He's in a fucking single file line of these Humvees, and maybe it brought him back to that, because what happened is we were in that fucking traffic jam. The first exit that we came upon, he took, The first parking lot we came upon, he parked in, he got out, he paced back and forth and chain smoked, and I just let him alone. I sat on the curb. And meanwhile, my selfish ass was like, come on, man, we got to get back. I didn't tell him this, but in my mind, I'm like, we got to get back on the road. We're late for my brother's memorial race. And I really wish I was more like, I wish I knew what was going on more. And I fucking, I feel like shit for that in hindsight, you know? But anyway, he chain smoked a bunch of cigarettes. We got back in the truck. We got back on the highway, and then he was like, I'm really sorry about that, but I thought we weren't going to make it out of there. I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, I don't know, man. I had this fucking feeling that we were going to be stuck in that traffic forever. And I thought this was like my hell. I thought that like this was where I was going to be forever. And I'm like, all right. I didn't know what he meant by that. And then, while he was driving, he asked me to scan through the radio channels until I found a Christian radio station. I swear to God, that's what happened. And we listened to Christian music the rest of the way to my brother's memorial race because it calmed him down. I couldn't fucking make this shit up if I fucking wanted to. Like, it really happened, you know? And I fucking, it's crazy.
Well,
not crazy, but you know what I mean.
No, I understand what you mean. And Under Review says that's why what you're doing is important, Darin. You speaking out may help someone else understand these situations a lot better.
Yeah, I hope so. If you got issues, man, seek professional help. Just try to get it as much as you can. Like me, I didn't have insurance. I didn't know what to do, but clearly I had anxiety and depression and things I could tell. I went to a free clinic and they set me up with a social worker, and I saw them once a week, and then I eventually got on medicine. And I'll tell you, like, it'll take years before you find the right cocktail or concoction of mind medicine to take to get you to feel right.
Yep.
And it's a fucking tough battle to deal with your own mental health issues. But just stick through it, seek it out, get professional help. You will get better. I promise you, as long as you keep doing it, someday you'll wake up and it will just hurt a little bit less and a little bit less. And I'm going to tell you all right now, you're not responsible for your mental health condition. It's not your fault, but you are responsible for your own recovery. The only one that you can recover is you. You're the only one that can do that. So just get some help, please, if you struggle with anything.
Well, and I'll ask, if there's anything that you want people to take away from this live tonight, what would it be?
That Brent was my best friend and my brother, and I miss him every single day, and I'm going to miss him for the rest of my life. And he's innocent. He did not know Brian Kohlberger. He was not involved in those murders. He died a tragic death, and they're two unrelated incidences, and I'm not involved. The farthest away I've been from home was I took my family on vacation to the Mall of America in Minnesota one time. I've never been to the fucking Idaho. I've never been to the state of Washington. Brent and I had absolutely nothing to do with these murders. Please leave him alone. If you want to talk about him in a positive light. I want everyone to know that I'm not a maniac. I'm a family man. I love horror movies. That doesn't make me a bad person. That doesn't make me a criminal. That's pretty much it. And, I just miss him, and our plans of being old and shit is just gone. It's never going to happen again. It's only been 6 months. I'm still trying to heal. And all the people that are talking shit about him are making it that much harder to heal.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate you taking the time to come on with us tonight and being open to answering any and all questions. Because again, you guys, I asked ahead of time, hey, just between me and you, is there anything that you may want me to avoid? Is there any topics that may be too sensitive? Any questions? Any boundaries? Darin said no. Just, the only thing that's going to upset me is being called a liar, as it would be, upsetting to anybody. But we're not here to convince anyone. These are the questions that I've seen around. These are the answers. Take it or leave it. But I really hope that maybe after this, people will allow you some space to grieve and mourn and process these emotions. And I just appreciate you taking the time to come on and going through all this with us. And I hope to get you on again in the future, but not about this. Maybe some alien stuff, maybe some ghost hunting stories and things like that, because I would really love that.
I would have loved that so much. Please feel free to reach out to me. I'll come on anytime you want, any subject. I don't know everything about anything, but I can definitely give some insight on some shit. Like I said, I'm a freelance paranormal investigator. I can share my experiences with that.
That would be awesome.
And we can just talk about whatever you want. I'd love to come back on. I appreciate you. I
Yeah.
appreciate your audience and how respectful they were. I appreciate all the support. I didn't realize until just now how much support that I had and how much support there is out there for Brent. I thought I was against the whole world.
No.
So thank you all. You guys are putting a lump in my throat. I truly appreciate it. Thank you all so much. And just keep up the good support and everything. And I'm not trying to sound like a bandwagon junkie or an asshole, but yeah, please look up my podcast. Don't blame us.
We've been
and
dropping
watch
it
us.
throughout. And
No, I
definitely go
know.
over,
I just
subscribe.
wanted to
Hell
wanted to let people know about it, but that's not why I came on or anything. But and I see all the there's tons of comments in here. Thank you, Darin. Thank you,
There's a lot
Darin.
of support.
Well, thank you. So this question keeps coming up. What's your favorite beer? I don't really have a favorite beer. Lately I've been drinking Miller Lite. It always changes for me. So I'm a
Did you
whiskey and beer
switch
kind of
from
guy.
Bud because of all the controversy?
No, Bud Light's disgusting, period. I
right.
used to, when I was a kid, I drank like Milwaukee's Best Ice because I could afford that. And then it was like Pabst Blue Ribbon for a while, Coors Light, and then now I'm just drinking Miller Lite. But yeah, I don't know if I kept seeing that pop up, so I figured I'd fucking answer it.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, go over, subscribe to his podcast. I'm gonna be go checking that out because I didn't know that you did that type of stuff as far as paranormal with Dahmer, West Memphis. Like, what do you do? Like, investigate? You go and you actually.
Yeah, 100%. In fact, I've investigated Waverly Hills Sanatorium 3 times, and that's like one. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but it's in Louisville, Kentucky. I know they all say they're one of the most haunted places in the world wherever you go, but Waverly Hills is extremely haunted. It's crazy. I've been there 3 times. What we do is we'll, like, for Waverly, for an example, we paid $1,000 to have the entire building to ourselves for 8 hours. And I would go in there with my crew and we would spend the night there. We don't sleep. We stay up the whole fucking time and we
because that's when you're
investigate.
gonna get the activity.
You're wasting your money if you're sleeping. I hate people that investigate and they take a nap and shit. It's like, fuck you, man. We're here. Let's go.
Yeah.
I've been to Ashmore Estates. I've been to Jeffrey Dahmer's room, obviously. I've been to several cemeteries around the area, in my local area, that are supposedly haunted and things. And yeah, it's fun for me. Not this year. I think early next year, I plan to rent the Villisca Axe Murder House, and I'm going to spend the night there. I'm going to have it for 24 hours all to myself. That'll be a lot of fun. Probably my wife will probably come. It'll probably be me and my wife. But yeah, it's a lot of fun for me. I like doing the paranormal.
I would love to pick your brain about that type of stuff. I would
anytime you want.
Love that.
I'd love to come on. I could share experiences with you. I can share footage I have and all kinds of shit.
I would absolutely love that. Thank you so much, Darin, and I'll keep in touch, and I'm going to talk to you about at least the 9/11 stuff privately because I would love to discuss it with you, but I would love absolutely to have you on. And you guys, there is his link again. Go over, subscribe, show him support. Thank you all for being respectful, and yeah, I look forward, and just move on from the bullshit. These are real people. It has a real impact. Let Brent rest in peace. Let his family and Darin move on and be able to mourn and process their own emotions because they're already going through it. And we're just making it a million times worse. So thank you so much for coming on, Darin.
You're very welcome. Thank you. And thank you to your audience for being so kind to me. I appreciate the support.
Absolutely. Okay. Have a great night, everyone. I'll talk to y'all soon.
See you later.